Sugod na, ma'am.
Hello, Philippines.
Hello,
good morning, Kapalong West District. And to
Hello,
all the
Miss
teachers
Bam.
of
Good morning.
Sir Rafi, can you hear me? Sir Rafi? Sir Rafi, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Ma'am Bam.
Okay,
Yes,
good
Ma'am
morning,
Bam.
sir. Yes, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, good morning.
Okay, good morning. Good morning, sir, and good morning to all our viewers. Welcome to the second day of our district training of teachers on the learning management
Hello.
system. So, okay, as of this moment, we still have
Yes, ma'am.
26
Good morning.
viewers.
Hello and good morning too. So God is good.
Okay, good morning.
All the time, God is good. Dalagon kayo ang Ginoo
Okay,
sa atong mga kinabuhi. Amen. Mayong buntag sa tanan. Have a blessed Tuesday morning to all our teacher participants, school administrators, TWG, and our very own public schools district supervisor, Ma'am Sara Passion Cobar. Welcome to the second day of our day training on LMS. Let us face and enjoy the day full of positivity. We appreciate you taking time to join us today. Before starting this program, and while waiting for others to join as well, allow me to announce the result of our attendance yesterday on our first day. According to the data from our technical team, 215 out of 283 registered participants have taken their attendance.
Okay, so yesterday we have
Yes,
tally
Ma'am Bam?
215 out of 283 registered participants. So, hapit na siya, sir, no? Almost perfect, pero almost dili pareho na na siya. So, one of our goals this morning is to hit the 100% attendance. Of course, not only for the attendance rate, but also for the number of viewers here on our YouTube channel. We do really hope that we will surpass the number yesterday. If our viewers yesterday did not reach at least 100, dapat karon maabot na jud ta og 200 plus. Di ba, Sir Rafi? Sir Rafi? Okay, so I guess my partner is having some difficulty regarding his internet connection. Okay, so once again, welcome to our second day of District Training of Teachers on the Learning Management System. Good morning, Kapalong West District. Basta KapWest, the best. Okay, good morning, especially to our beloved PSDS Ma'am Sara Passion Kubar. Good morning. Okay, so we have a comment from Ma'am Rovilyn Angko. Good morning, everyone. God bless and stay safe. Okay, good morning, Ma'am Rovilyn from Sagana Elementary School. Okay. Okay, so announcement to all the teacher participants that are currently watching this video. Please inform your other co-teachers in your school to please start joining. Okay, from Ma'am Romilly Rotol. Good morning, everyone. It's another day of investment of knowledge. Let's learn, let's fight, and let's heal as one. Go KapWest. Okay, from Ma'am Romilly Rotol of Gabuyan Central Elementary School. Good morning, Ma'am Romilly. Okay, another comment from Ma'am Primilin Sagsagat. Okay. Good morning, everyone. 4 out of 5 now. New learnings awaits. Okay, so last day, yesterday, nag-comment din si Ma'am Prime. Okay. So how many viewers do we got? Okay. We have 62 viewers as of this moment. Okay, announcement. Teacher participants who are watching us live right now, please inform others to join as well. So that we can start our second day of training right away. And also, reminders, our attendance link will follow the same scheme as yesterday. So our attendance link will be surprise again and will be posted again anytime on your screens. Okay, so you better be attentive to the link when it is being displayed on your screen. Okay, right. So why don't we make this day not just wonderful, but also a day full of learning and new experiences? To start this day right, we must first pay tribute to our beloved country and acknowledge the goodness of Almighty God by audio-visual presentation.
Isang himig ang aking narinig, minsa'y nanaginip, ating bansa'y umaawi. Isang himig, pag-ibig ang hatid, ang musika'y batid sa bawat puso at isip. Ikaw at ako, tayo ay Pilipino, isang bansa, pati magkaisa. Isang lugar at musika, ang pangarap ko'y bansang mapayapa. Isang himig pag-ibig ang hatid, ang musika'y batid sa bawat puso at isip. Isang awit ang aking narinig, Kristiyano at Muslim, makaisa sa awitin. Ikaw ang ako, tayo Pilipino, isang bansa, di magkaisa. Isang dugo, isang lahi at musika, ang pangarap ko'y bansang mapayapa. Ikaw at ako, tayo ay Pilipino, isang bansa, at di magkaisa. Isang dugo, isang lahi at musika, ang pangarap ko'y bansang mapayapa. Isang dugo, isang lahi at musika, ang pangarap, ang pangarap, ang pangarap, ang pangarap, ang pangarap ko'y bansang mapayapa. Bansang mapayapa. If there's one more gift I ask of you, Lord, it would be peace, your love, as gentle as your children's laughter all around, all around. Your people have grown weary from living in confusion. When will we realize that neither heaven is at peace? When we live not in peace, if there's one more gift I'd ask of you, Lord, it would be peace, your love, as gentle as your children's laughter all around, all around. Grant me serenity within, for the confusions around our reflections of what's within me. If there's one gift I'd ask of you, Lord, it would be peace, your love, as gentle as your children's laughter all around, all around, all
Again, good morning, everyone, especially to our very own public schools district supervisor, Ma'am Sara Pasyon Kubar. Maayong buntag, ma'am. To all the school heads of all the participating schools, both in elementary and secondary, maayong buntag ka natong tanan sa diha. Ug sa tanang viewers nato, teacher participants, magandang umaga. Welcome po sa ating ikalawang araw ng District Training of Teachers on the Learning Management System. And before starting the second day of our training, let us listen to some words from Ma'am Mary Ayan Macalde for us to be motivated or inspired in attending and listening to this 5-day training of teachers on the learning management system. Again, please help me welcome on screen Ma'am Mary Ayan Macalde from Semong National High School.
Good morning, everyone. So I am tasked to give food for thought this morning. But before anything else, let me greet first our PSDS, Kapalong West, Ma'am Sara Picobar, to all the school heads and principals, both elementary and secondary, and of course to our school head, Ma'am Roda and Rosete. And of course to all the teacher participants, both elementary and secondary, who are in attendance. So good morning, everyone. Let me share this to you. The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The willingness to learn is a choice. By Brian Herbert. Let us be reminded that the willingness to embrace change in this educational system, in the new normal situation, is important for the success of the goals of the Department of Education. Good morning once again, and God bless everyone.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ma'am Mary Ayan Macalde from Simong National High School. Indeed, the willingness to embrace change in this new normal situation is very important in attaining the goals of this department. And yesterday, on our first day, we really learned a lot from all the presentations and discussions delivered to us by our knowledgeable speakers. And at this point, for us to recall what was presented yesterday, let us have the principal of Semong National High School, Ma'am Rhoda and Rosette, for the recap. Okay, please help me welcome on screen Ma'am Rhoda and Rosette.
To our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. D. Silva, Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel Mandayo, CID Chief, Dr. Edward Aquitis, SGOD Chief, Dr. Lupita Andamon, to all the education program supervisors, both in curriculum and governance, to all the public schools district supervisors, especially to our very own active and supportive Magsara Kubar, to all the school heads, teachers, guests who are watching right now, a pleasant morning to everyone. Our day one morning session started with the following preliminaries: tribute to God and country, acknowledgement of our Almighty Father, Davao Regional 3, and Davao del Norte, followed by the presentation of the Division Technical Working Group composed of our SDS, ASTS, CID, and SGO chiefs, as well as our education program supervisors, and the presentation of our District Technical Working Group, headed by our PSDS, school heads, and selected teacher participants of the Division Training of Trainers on elements. A welcome remarks from our PSDS followed, as well as the words of inspiration and challenge from our superintendent and CID chief. We have heard one word which is common among the messages of these three personalities, the word serious. They cautioned us to take this webinar seriously, but our SNS leave as a comforting statement that we should not panic. chill lang tayo at saka relax na. And we should learn how to manage our time. Our CID chief and PSDS puts emphasis on the attendance of our teachers and close monitoring of our school heads to their teachers to this 5-day webinar on LMS. Our regional CLM chief, Dr. Janet Veloso, extends her warm congratulations to Davao on her message. And the session was followed by the message of our OIC Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction, Justado San Antonio. But because of technical irregularities, we are not able to view the presentation. But the session was taken care by our Kapalong West District Program Coordinator on LMS, Sir Bayani Isticon. He presented his demonstration simulation of the LMS during the regional training of trainers on LMS with his partner from the Davao City Division. The morning session was followed by the presentation of Dr. Danilo Kanda on the vision, mission, and core values of DepEd. He was our NAIA focal person. And followed by the open forum by our PSDS and our two school heads from the elementary, Sir Glenn Timbal and Sir Raul Consisi. And our morning session was ended with an open forum. And in the afternoon session, the session was taken care by our Kapalong West District Program Coordinator in LMS, Sir Bayani Isluton, on his comprehensive exploration as well as manipulation of the learning management system. And our afternoon session ended with an open forum taken care by our PSDS as well as our hero on LMS, Sir Bayani Isluton. Our day one ended with a very fruitful day.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Rhoda and Rosette, for that detailed recapitulation of yesterday's happenings and learnings from the very start of the day until the end of the first day. It is really important to have a recap for us to reminisce what happened and for us to connect these things to the inputs that we are going to receive today. And now, for the announcement regarding the pretest data yesterday, let us welcome here on screen our very active program coordinator, Sir Bayani N. Escoton. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Sir Bayani. Okay, Sir Bayani, I think your microphone is on mute.
Good morning,
Okay.
ma'am.
Good
Good
morning,
morning, ma'am.
sir. Good morning.
Good morning also to all our teacher participants. And my warmest greetings to our very active and supportive public schools district supervisor, Ma'am Sara Pasyon Kubar. And also to our very supportive school heads nga kung wala ang tabang nila ma'am o ang support nila Ma'am Sara o sa itong mga school heads, this webinar would not be possible. And this is another learning opportunity for us para mas matuto tayo kung paano i-explore at paano i-manipulate itong ating LMS. So to all of our elementary school heads, thank you so much for the support, for the encouragement. So to our secondary school heads, thank you so much, ma'am and sir, for all of your support. At this moment, without further ado, let me announce to you the data for the pre-test yesterday. Here is the pretest data of yesterday's session. We have received a total of 168 responses out of an expected 245 responses since 245 matatanan. Pero of course, hindi na po kasali doon yung mga trainers natin kasi alam na nila yung yung sagot dito kasi they are already participants to the division training of trainers. So we have 168 responses, and out of that 168 responses, we have an average of 6.68 points and a median of 6. So sa 10 items na question, yung gitnang score po natin is 6. And these are the scores obtained. Meron po tayong 26 perfect scorers or 10 po yung nakuha nila na score. Meron din namang 7, 9 po yung score nila, 7 teacher participants, 22, and yan po yung data lahat. Meron naman po tayong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pero gano'n naman po pala pag pre-test. It's normal because it is expected na wala pa po tayong alam or may konti tayong alam, but at the end of our webinar, mas madadagdagan pa po yung alam natin. Now, for the first 10 perfect scorers, top 1, Ma'am Wilnes Basmayor of Luna Elementary School. Second placer, mura graduation. Second placer, Ma'am Hercely Agustin, a senior high school teacher of Semong National High School. Third place, Ma'am Mona Lisa Muegna of Luna Elementary School. Fourth, Ma'am Marilu Sonajo, Luna Elementary School. And Ma'am Mary Ann Orias, Ma'am Michelle Lazarte still from Luna Elementary School. We have also Ma'am Christine Ermac, an elementary teacher from Mangulibas. Ma'am Julieta Cabanlit, junior high school teacher of Luna National High School. Ma'am Renalyn Rosos, Sampao Integrated School, and Ma'am Christine Maurial of Luna National High School. So may pagpabor-pabor, nag-dominate ang Luna pero murag nag-study gid siguro na sila. And also from Luna National High School. We also have from Semong National. Of course, sulitin po natin kasi 26 sila naka-perfect. From Luna National High School, 11 to 15. Sir Jeff T. Cagas, Ma'am Jassy Vivas, Sir Jonard Corpus, Ma'am Janice Rebocas, and Ma'am Regine Faith Degamo. Another from Luna National High School, Ma'am Grace Den Bakla. And also from Gabuyan Central, tatlo po sila magkakasunod kasi ito po yung yung pasunod yun silang pagtubag kasi naka-timestamp po yung form natin. We have Ma'am Stella Maris Rabe, Ma'am Mariza Feines, and Sir Raymond Opinaldo. And another teacher, senior high school teacher from Luna National High School, Ma'am Maricel Villanueva. 21 to 26 perfect scorers from Luna National, Ma'am Lyle Angeli Magdula. From Sampao, we have Ma'am Ginalyn Cafe. From Luna National High School, Ma'am Carjolyn De Lima and Ma'am Antonieta Magbanwa. And from Sampao, we have Ma'am Rosamon Intong. And another one from Luna National High School, Ma'am Madeline Ikalina. So sa ngayon, parang dominated po tayo ng Luna, pero who knows, during the post-test, baka ibang paaralan na naman o mapapanatili ba ng Luna ang kanilang trono for this webinar. So mga ma'am and sir, lagi lamang po tayong makaantabay at ating alamin, mas mahalaga po na ating matutunan ang lahat para po sa ating post-test, malaki na po yung makuha natin. Thank you so much everyone. Happy learning. And encouraging everyone to please join since we are already 100 na po tayo ngayon. Much higher as compared yesterday. So, pero malayo pa po sa 50% kasi we are expecting 245 participants. Start joining and happy learning everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this day 2 of the 5-day webinar. Hello, Ma'am Bam.
Hello, sir. Thank you so much, Bayani ng Kapalong West District, Sir Bayani Escoton, for the presentation of data regarding the pre-test yesterday. So we have received 168 responses, no, with 6.68 as our average. Congratulations to these 26 perfect scorers, and especially to the first 10 perfect scorers. And to the Luna Elementary School who dominated the perfect scorers, no? Congratulations, gihawjud sa mga maestra sa Luna Elementary School. And of course, congratulations pa rin sa lahat ng nag-take ng retest. Okay. So, moving on, let us deepen our understanding on the most essential learning competencies by listening to the presentation of our CLMD Chief of DepEd Region 11, Dr. Janet J. Veloso, for the rationale and overview of the MELC. Once again, let us welcome here on screen Dr. Janet J. Veloso.
Revolutionary as it remains forward thinking in carrying out its mandates under the framework of Sulong Edukalidad. It continues to navigate diversified interventions and strategies to sustain delivery of quality, accessible, relevant, and liberating basic education. Thus, I teach on the region as a comprehensive led learning continuity plan is hopeful for that, and you will know what is it. Now, the presentation outline in today's journey about the most essential learning competencies, we are going to have a glimpse on the region's context, leading to our support or our commitment for the K-12 most essential learning competencies. Second, as to our framework of the region, as to our learning continuity plan. And another is for us to look into deeper, and this will be walked through in a form of walkthrough by the respective learning area experts on K-12 most essential learning competencies. And the last is where we are heading, our way forward. Now, before the COVID-19 pandemic has come into picture, if we look at Davao region, each year we are baffled by many disasters, and these have a major impact on learners and education systems. Be it in a smaller or bigger scale, learners are generally out of school for some period of time due to disasters. That the impact on the education to learners, all of these existing challenges have damaged certain damage to education infrastructure. Not only that, often live many children in need of critical education support, and I'm talking about learners with special needs. They are left helpless and ensuring their long-term or longer-term development. And so, now that we are in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic, which poses challenges to all various sectors in DepEd. Not only that, and DepEd is one that has to really change its landscape of operation in order to become viable in this trying time. And so, we are very thankful for DepEd Region 11 to make it responsive that in this global pandemic, we have our ITITs, integrating technology, academic community, and the household, ensuring that every learner in DepEd Region 11 is safe and protected anytime, anywhere. And not only that, DepEd Region 11, as it integrates technology, academic community, and households, and guided by the DepEd's vision and core values, pushes its 12 goals under the Learning Continuity Plan. And this is ensuring learning continuity through the K-12 basic education curriculum, adjustments, alignment, learning materials, deployment of multiple learning delivery modalities, provision of corresponding training to teachers and school leaders, and proper orientation of parents or to our community leaders. We embedded all this as mechanism in our learning continuity plan. And that, if we look at DepEd Region 11's learning continuity plan, we have one, determine the context of the learner and their families. Second, develop and establish a contextualized hybrid learning management system, and that is our learning management system where every school, every division, and every learner or every household will have enhanced preparation of learners in meeting the K-12 basic education program standards and competencies under the most essential learning competencies. And fourth, map out all materials necessary for the delivery of the lessons vis-a-vis the MELCs. And fifth, develop self-learning materials that are aligned with the MELCs. And sixth, facilitate conversion of self-learning materials or our self-learning modules into ebook, into our interactive video lessons, radio scripts, and TV-based scripts or episodes ready for the different modalities. And next to that, we have to utilize our ICT in the management, communication, accreditation, and supervision of private schools and delivery of support and resources in all field offices. Provide necessary retooling and upskilling strategies to all personnel in all governance. And I'm talking to this that not only in the school level, but also in the division and in the region, that we are going to provide or capacitate our key personnel. Ninth, orient parents and learners on the different modalities and learning on significant, and especially on their significant role as parents for being facilitators of learning. Strengthen partnership of key players to ensure delivery of all learning modalities in schools and collaboration in all governance. 11th, protect the well-being of the learners, our teaching and non-teaching personnel, and education leaders by ensuring a safe and conducive learning and working spaces or environment. And finally, we need still to celebrate success and also reward our key players and partners for the effort under the framework for the delivery of quality service for sulong edukalidad. And we capture all this in our framework of the ITIDs. And I'd like each one to look into the the effort of the region that is now we are doing the upskilling of teachers. And on the aspect or in the aspect of capacity building to teachers and school leaders, the region has to ensure that all teachers are not only strengthened to become resilient, adaptable, or able to manage resource and technology literacy or technological literacy, but most specifically on the main concern on the delivery of the K-12 basic education. And that it is therefore the primary goal of the region to orient you teachers and our education leaders on the most essential learning competencies and able to let you or appreciate the MELCs as we are now, if we look at our calendar, we are in a shortened period because barely each quarter we are going to have 8 weeks. So with that, we are ensuring that the most essential learning competencies are delivered to our respective clientele and our learners. And under that, imbibed with the philosophy and principles as well as the pillars of sulong edukalidad, it is hope that teachers will be able to respond. And it is you, our trainers now, who is going to set that one into motion to the goals of the K-12 basic education program. And if we look at our K-12 most essential learning competencies, we have as our overarching, or shall we say, impression that the MELCs is not a new curriculum. It is not a departure from the K-12 curriculum. And that the standards in terms of the content and performance standards are retained. And that our MELCs are focused on the attainment of 21st century skills. The codes and tagged materials are retained for the merged and retained competencies. And that all learning areas will still be taught. And that the MELCs are aligned with the sulong edukalidad framework. Another thing that we should know, that if we look at the desirable learning competencies and so with the essential learning competencies, the DLCs or the desirable learning competencies are those that what may enhance education but may not be necessary in building foundational skills. And that the essential one are those that our students need. And these are indispensable. And that in terms of if we look at the teaching learning process, this equip learners for subsequent grade levels or consequently for building the skills in subsequent grade levels or for lifelong learning. And so this is how, or these are the things that our DepEd Central Office and our field offices look at it. Now, for the characteristics of essential learning competencies, these are the things that we should know that it is aligned with the national and state and local standards, and that it connects the content to higher concepts across content areas. It is applicable to real life situations, and that in general, these are important as, as it is very essential not only for our learners, but also it has something to do with the real learning in the community or in the real world. It is underscored specifically that we are looking at it, that if we talk about the most essential learning competencies, these are ending competencies. And that if we look at endurance, this gives us a view that a learning competency is considered enduring, because this is one aspect that really put premium, that if it is enduring, it remains with the learners long after a test or unit of study is completed, or if it is used as a reference for future
Ayan, well, gaset up pagbalik ang ato ang mga TWG in Luna National High School. Stay tuned lang po tayo mga kaguruan, wag po kayong bumitaw at wag po kayong mang-iwan sapagkat masakit po. Gaya kahapon na sinabi ko, masakit po ang maiwan. So, sa mga tanang nagtanaw karon, good morning everyone. To Ma'am Rovelyn Angkog, good morning ma'am. To Ma'am Prime, to Dr. Prime Sagsagat, good morning ma'am. And to all the teachers of Doña Carmen Soriano Elementary School. To Ma'am Marilyn Amyon, good morning ma'am. Good morning everyone daw. According po to Ma'am Arlene Danghil, day 2 of 5, have a fruitful day ahead everyone. So, nindot kayo kay positive kayo ang ato ang panglantaw sa atong training mga ma'am and sir. It is according to Ma'am Arlene Danghil, fruitful day po para sa ating lahat. Hello naman din po kay Sir Ronelio Agustin of Semong Elementary School. Good morning, Kapalong West. Another brand new awaits for us to learn more things in relation to the new normal. To Sir Adrian Bakino, good morning daw. According to Sir, day 2 out of 5, happy learning po. So, si Sir Adrian ay makakasama po natin sooner or tomorrow na po. Makakasama natin si Sir Adrian. At habang bumabalik pa po yung internet natin sa Luna National, let me greet pa po sa mga teachers natin dito. Ma'am Jane Rose Lilam, good morning also to you, ma'am. To Sir Rogelio Horada, who is very active also in the group chat. Yes, day 2 na. Gamay na lang kulang. Mahuman na ang 5 days webinar. Good morning all again. Pleasant morning also to you, sir. Kaya ni sir, pleasant morning to all. So kung okay na ang ato ang kuan, ibalik na pud nato. Sige, just give me a signal, Sir Alan Roy, if we are okay, and we will return to our video presentation. Happy learning, everyone, and here is our continuation sa naputol po na video.
Instruction, particularly our Bureau of Curriculum and Development, that it has, or that everybody has really considered all or many things from the review of the curriculum guide and then move to the consideration of the essential learning competencies to the most essential learning competencies. Next, from the learning competencies before, from I believe a total of more than 10,000 learning competencies, and it is now reduced to more than 4,000 competencies. So the process is not just easy. And so these are the things that we have considered. And then, next to that, we have the mapping of the essential and desirable competencies that were mentioned a while back, and then the identifying of the prerequisite knowledge and skills within the learning area or the different learning area, and then it passes also analysis of interconnectedness of prerequisite knowledge and skills among learning competencies across learning areas. And then, yes, I have dwelled on this as to the essential learning competencies to MELCs. And so it's fitting that we need to know more about this through the walkthrough that you will be giving, and that the consideration that the most determining factor na talagang tandaan natin is that we have the endurance, no, as the determining factor, that once that certain competency remains with the learner long after a test of a unit or unit of study is completed, And if this competency is useful beyond a single test or unit of study, then that is considered for the most essential learning competency. And that another thing that we need to be aware of, that while it's true that they go with the process of um, mapping the competency, identifying the prerequisite or analysis, but more so that they considered that there are those that they have retained, there are competencies that have been merged, and there are those that have been rephrased, and there are those that have been dropped. So that's how the process is what we consider tedious and daunting task. And so finally, for our region, we map out the available learning competencies. Because of that, because this is how populate we populate the given most essential learning competencies with all the identified or the existing available resource that we have, because we want the teacher now to really know what are the things or what are these learning resource available in your respective divisions, available in your respective schools that are already quality assured, and even those that are for quality assurance process but are closely and can be used in the delivery of the most essential learning competencies. We are doing such because these are data and these are vital information for you teachers to be able to make sure that you have ample available learning resource once you are going and once we open the school year 2020-2021. And finally, as our way forward, we hope that each one will continue, especially our writers and developers of the self-learning modules for the quality assurance of the learning modules and the establishment of monitoring and evaluation of the online training model. And this is the one that we are talking about, our training, because we do not want that all of us will just be listening to the training or webinars, but more so that we are going to make sure that all the things that we are heading for are really delivered well, and not only that, we are equipped for the school year 2020-2021. And we would like each of you now to catch sight of our collaboration, the collaboration of all offices in all governance, starting from schools, your schools division offices, and the region, and so with the central office, because we believe now that we journey together, not only learning together of the kind of environment that we have now, and we come together as we open for the school year 2021 for the delivery of quality basic education and ensuring that each learner is safe and protected while they continue their education in this new normal. God bless everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Janet Veloso of the CLMB of DepEd Region 11. Ayun po, nakasama po natin kahapon ng live si Dr. Jan.
And that was our CLMD Chief of the DepEd Region 11, Dr. Janet J. Veloso, for the overview of the most essential learning competencies, or MELCs. Okay, so announcement. We have our official hashtags for this training, and it is currently being displayed on your screen. It is hashtag Embrace LMS, hashtag LMS KapWest, hashtag Sulong Edukalidad. So while you are posting about this 5-day training on Facebook or on Twitter or on Instagram, please use this hashtag. Okay, so because we are now in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic, we really need to change the landscape of our education. That is why these most essential learning competencies are selected to really give way and focus to the competencies that are inevitably vital to our daily lives and for the attainment of our students' 21st century learning skills. And now, let us move on to the unpacking of competencies based on the most essential learning competencies. For this morning, we are to watch 5 sessions, and these are the competencies for the kindergarten, multigrade, competencies for the Filipino, English, and mathematics. So, for our first session, let us welcome here on screen the Education Program Supervisor and the LRMS Manager of DepEd Region 11, Dr. Analiza C. Almazan, for the unpacking of kindergarten competencies. Okay.
Education officials, of course, to the Regional Director of Region 11, to ARD, to the different chiefs of the functional divisions, the superintendents of the 11 schools division offices, of course, with the assistant schools division superintendents, the CID chiefs, to all the education program supervisors in CLMD and in CID, and of course, my dearest kindergarten education program supervisors and teachers. Today, we are going to have the walkthrough of the most essential learning competencies for kindergarten. So, in the light of the COVID-19 and the consequent shortened academic year, the Department of Education, through the Bureau of Curriculum Development, Curriculum Standards Development Division, has produced a list of the most essential learning competencies, or what we call the MELCs. This was done in order to ensure that the grade level standards, along with the corresponding content and performance standards set for each learning area, are still attained. In the process of identifying the MELCs, the endurance criterion was used as the sole determiner, guided by the requirement that a learning competency be useful in lifelong learning. Further, the MELCs identified are those that work in close association with other competencies in other subjects, thus maintaining the curricular quality of integration. So this is the picture of the most essential learning competencies matrix. Of course, this is for K to 12 curriculum. So in here, we will be talking about the kindergarten most essential learning competencies. And as we see here, let's try to answer what is MELC. So this is all about the most essential learning competency. So what is this? So this serves as a reference to assist the teachers in identifying the most important learning competencies to be developed, acquired by the learners, and must be prioritized in this crisis situation. MELCs with asterisk are rephrased and deemed essential in learning competencies in the achievement of content and performance standards. So MELC is for school year 2020-2021 only. So meaning to say, this is only intended for this school year, of which we will start on August and hopefully we will end on April 2021. Well, this is our example of the most essential learning competencies of kindergarten. So as you see here, so we have the quarter one or week one. So we have here the content standards. Okay, for example, ang bata ay nagkakaroon ng pag-unawa sa sariling ugali at damdamin. So of course, the MELC still has the performance standards. So we have here, ang bata ay nakapagpapamalas ng kakayahang kontrolin ang sariling damdamin at pag-uugali, gumawa ng desisyon at magtagumpay sa kanyang mga gawain. Okay, from these standards, we have the most essential learning competencies. So there are 5. So meaning to say, this is somewhat a subtask, sub-competencies. So we have here, there are 5. So nakikilala ang sarili, pangalan at apelyado, kasarian, gulang or kapanganakan, then gusto or di gusto, then use the proper expression in introducing oneself. So yung sub-competencies of this MELC, this is the most essential learning competencies, and like what we said, there is what we call embedded competencies. So along with this main MELC, we have this sub-competencies. They use the proper expression in introducing oneself. So we have a sample here. So I know that kindergarten teachers, they know a lot of this. So as we see, this is now what we're going to teach first. Okay, this one, the proper expression in introducing oneself. Then talk about one's personal experiences, narrate events of the day, then naipakikita ang tiwala sa sarili na tugunan ang sariling pangangailangan ng mag-isa. Kaya halimbawa dyan, maghugas ng kamay, kumain, magbihis, magligpit, tapusin ang gawaing nasimulan. Okay. So this is our example of the MELC. So again, we have this what we call the MELC, meaning the main MELC, and we have what we call the sub-competencies. So as a general rule, learning competencies are retained if it satisfies the endurance criterion, which greatly contributes to lifelong learning and is a prerequisite skill to the next grade level. Some of the competencies are merged or clustered if they have the same objective or learning intention, thus can be combined into one comprehensive learning competency. Okay, we have also the case that learning competencies are dropped when if they are too specific and the articulation is similar to that of a learning objective, then deemed appropriate to be introduced in an early quarter or grade level or moved to a later quarter or grade level. Then sometimes they are recurring and subsumed in another learning area. And we have here learning competencies. And of course, rephrased, this is to be more concise. Okay, this is our process of identifying the MELCs. So we have here the K-12 curriculum guide. From there, we come up with the essential learning competencies and then the most essential learning competencies. So from the different learning competencies, there we go. We have now the list of the most essential learning competencies. So the K-12 most essential learning competencies are not a departure from the K-12 curriculum. Of course, the MELCs are still part of the K-12 curriculum. Then, of course, there is standards, the content and performance standards. Then focus on the attainment of the 21st century skills. The codes and tagged materials are retained for merged and retained competencies. And all learning areas will still be taught. So if we're going to look into the current curriculum guide versus the MELCs, for kindergarten, we have current current curriculum guide, we have 241. And right, for the total MELCs that we have for four quarters, we have 66 MELCs. So as you see, there is 1% MELCs as compared to the total number of MELCs. Kasi yung total number that we have is 5,548. So kindergarten MELCs are 66 in number. So this is 1% of the total number of MELCs. So for the kindergarten teachers, you are going to deal 66 MELCs for one school year. Field implementers are encouraged to contextualize the most essential learning competencies in order to accommodate the varying contexts of learners, teachers, learning environment, and support structures, considering both the content and performance standards. So how to use the MELC? So we as kindergarten teachers, we should know how to use the MELC. So the Department of Education, through the Bureau of Curriculum Development, Curriculum Standards Development Division, has developed the most essential learning competencies to address the challenges brought about by the global pandemic. Its negative impacts in the educational system, which include but not limited to the shortened school year, limited face-to-face interaction of teachers, of course, with our learners. So meaning to say, for this school year, we have really limited interaction face-to-face with our learners, and other instructional delivery related concerns pose serious problem, most specifically to early childhood learners. Okay, this is now the call for the kindergarten teachers, because it is really give us a problem because we're dealing early graders, young ones, meaning to say this is their first year supposedly in school, diba? Entering kindergarten. So thus, the MELCs ensure that all 5-year-old, so these are now our kindergarten learners, 5-year-old Filipino learners achieve the content and performance standards expected of them in various learning domains. So always remember our domains, developmental domains in kindergarten. So in the process of identifying the MELCs, the endurance criterion was used as the sole determiner. Endurance is defined as the learning competency that remains with learners long after a test is completed, or is useful beyond a single test or unit of study. So finally, the MELCs identified under the 7 developmental domains. Okay, still remember our 7 developmental domains? Of course you do. Kindergarten teachers along with our education program supervisors in kindergarten. So these are the 7 developmental domains are those that work in close association with the circular themes from the kindergarten curriculum guide, which will be used for each lesson and activity for the week. So how to use the MELCs? The MELCs identified in kindergarten may be taught repeatedly. Okay, take note. Okay, the MELCs identified in kindergarten may be taught repeatedly to help the learner acquire the necessary knowledge, skills, and values. So take note of this. The MELCs identified in kindergarten may be taught repeatedly. So this is to achieve mastery of the skills. Remember, we are developing the 7 domains. So the skills. So this will somehow help our learners acquire the necessary knowledge, skills, and values. It is also recommended that the teacher untap the MELCs into more specific learning competencies or objectives using the kindergarten curriculum guide. So we're still going to have our kindergarten curriculum guide, our KCG. Then the teacher may add more sub-competencies depending on the need of the learners. So again, take note of this. It is also recommended that the teacher enacts the MELCs into more specific learning competencies or objectives using the PCG. Then the teacher may add, okay, always in, because this can be our context. So the teacher may add more sub-competencies depending on the need of the learners. So meaning to say, in this part, we, the teachers of the kindergarten, are encouraged to contextualize or to contextualize the competencies based on the need of our learners. So if for one competency perhaps our learners cannot master yet a particular skill, then we can add more sub-competencies. Okay? So the MELCs identified in kindergarten, okay, beyond that is we are going to, this is what we call taught repeatedly, right? So this is our now example. This is what I give a while back. So this is our example MELCs for kindergarten. So quarter 1, week 1. So again, as you see, we have the content standards. We have the performance standards. And this column is for most essential learning competencies. And we have the sub-competencies. This is what has been emphasized a while back, that in this portion, we, the teachers, can add or may add sub-competencies or additional competencies depending on the need of the learners. So again, if the learners cannot master yet the skills, so that the teachers can add some competencies along with that most essential learning competencies. So we are going to look into our kindergarten curriculum guide. So you have the copy of the MELCs, and of course, always bring with you also the copy of your kindergarten curriculum guide so that you will be guided with the sub-competencies to go along with that MELCs. Okay? So this is a sample for the quarter 2, week 2. Okay, still, we have the content standards, we have the performance standards, we have the most essential learning competencies, and we have the sub-competencies. So if we're going to look into the what is that? The things listed, the MELCs listed in the full package of the most essential learning competencies, we will we will find the MELCs for kindergarten on these pages. So this is the first page in there, the kindergarten. So you have here, this is now really the picture of the contents of the MELCs. So we have quarter 1 or the first quarter, and as you see, we have what we call the duration. So at most, we are guided when to have this particular MELC be taught to our learners because of this duration. So as you see, the duration is not given to us as day 1, day 2, day 3, 4, and 5, but it's given to us as a week. Okay, as a week. But as we teach this particular MELC, always remember that we can add some sub competencies. So if this is the most essential learning competencies, then if we feel that our learners could not master right away the skill emphasized or the domain emphasized in this MELC, then we can add sub competencies. So we have here, for example, we have this one, nakikilala ang sarili. This is what we have presented in our sample a while back. So this is the second MELC for week 2. So for week 2, we will focus the themes on nasasabi ang mga sariling pangangailangan ng walang pag-aalinlangan at nakasusunod sa mga itinakdang tuntunin at gawain, that those are the routines sa paaralan at silid-aralan. Okay? So ito yung tinitingnan natin. So we have here, it is all about disiplina, yung konsepto na ibigay natin dito. This is the disciplina. And for week 3 ng quarter 1, we will be talking about, we will let our learners demonstrate an understanding of letters. Ayan. So this is now week 3, sort and classify objects according to one attribute, property, that is about the shape, the color, size, function, and use. Okay, so this is now, so we have 3 weeks with 3 most essential learning competencies. So we have here also the week 4 of quarter 1. And as you see that, and then we are now introducing in week 4, we are now introducing the letter, number, or word that is different in group. So, we have nais sa kikilos ang sariling kakayahan sa iba't ibang paraan, halimbawa sa pag-awit, pagsayaw, at iba pa. So, that's for week 4. For week 5, we will focus on nakikilala ang mga pangunahing emosyon. So, tuwa, takot, galit, at lungkot. Then, tell which 2 letters, numbers, or words in a group are the same. So, that's for week 5. Then, of course, for week 6, recognize symmetry. And we have week 7. This is about the function of each basic body part. Demonstrate movements using different body parts. Then week 8, name. We have the week 9, identify one's basic needs and ways to care for one's body. Then week 10, practice ways to care for one's body. So as you see, for quarter 1, we have 10 weeks for quarter 1 to deal with the most essential learning competencies. Then for quarter 2, so we have here quarter 2, we have, okay, this is the week 1, natutukoy na may pamilya ang bawat isa. For week 2, natutukoy kung sino-sino ang bumubuo ng pamilya. Week 3, nailalarawan kung paano nagkakaiba at nagkakatulad ang bawat pamilya. Then week 4, this is all about pagmamahal sa mga kasapit ng pamilya. As talk about more about family. Okay? So dito natin to bata yung about sa pamilya. Yung concept nila about family. Dito yan sa quarter 2. Then, for week 5, name the places and the things found in the classroom. Standards here, the child demonstrates an understanding of acquiring new words, widening his or her vocabulary, links to her or his experiences. So in this part na, sa week 5, the child demonstrates an understanding of objects in. So this time, our learners will talk about the colors, the size, shapes, and functions, and that objects can be manipulated based on these properties and attributes. So go to give the names of family members, school personnel, and community helpers, and the roles. Okay, so those are the samples, or those are the MELCs identified for quarters 1 and quarters 2. Then additional for quarters 2, we have the week 7. So we have week 7. We have here. We will talk about the polite greetings and courteous expressions in appropriate situations. Then week 8, talk about likes, dislikes, the foods. Those are the foods, the pets, toys, games, friends, and places. Then talk about family members, pets, toys, foods, or members of the community also repeatedly done. Diba? As you notice, as we choose about the milks, so they are repeatedly presented in every quarter. Then week 9, tell and describe the different kinds of weather, that is the sunny, rainy, cloudy, stormy, windy. Then observe and record the weather daily as part of the opening routine. Okay. Then week 10, identify what we wear and use for each kind of weather. So this comprises quarter two. So still we have 10 weeks in quarter two. Okay. For part of the second quarter, okay, part of the second quarter mapping and writing the letters of the alphabet, then straight lines, then combination of straight and slanting lines, then combination of straight and curved lines. Then we have rounded strokes with loops. Then write ones give a name. So we introduce now the letters according to how are they written, how they look, yung mga letters of the alphabet. Then for week 3, so dito sa week 3, the child demonstrates an understanding of concepts of size, length, weight, time, and money. So tell the names of the days in a week, month, and a year. So that's for week one in quarter 3. As you see, uh, with you, we will give you copies of the milks, but I guess that you already have copies of your milk. So I hope that you will be walking through with that milk. So you open that one because that would be the milks now would be our Bible. But along with that milk, of course, always also bring with you your curriculum. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. So this is what Benjamin Franklin tells us. Okay, and then another thing that we need to remember: children don't care what a teacher knows unless they know the teacher cares. We need to care our learners this time more. We need to give more care on them because it's a different setup, different delivery of the modality, different delivery of the learning for this pandemic. So we need to care more about our learners. Then if a child can't learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach the way we learn. Okay? And with that, thank you very much. Again, this is Annalisa Casas Almazan, your kindergarten focal person in the regional office. Good day, everyone. Our region.
Okay, that was Dr. Annalisa Almazan. Hi, Sir Rafi. Welcome back. Okay, Sir Rafi, Sir Rafi, I think you are having some problems with your microphone. Okay. Okay, so that was again Dr. Annalisa's. Yes. So we are now done with the competencies for the kindergarten. And then up next, for the multi-grade competencies, let us welcome one of the education program supervisor of Region 11, Dr. George N. Wong. Okay, please let me welcome Dr. George N. Wong for the competencies for the multi-grade. Okay, our technical team is still preparing the video. So again, reminders in posting statuses or posts on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, use our official hashtag for this training. Hashtag embrace LMS, hashtag LMS KapWest, hashtag sulong edukalidad. Okay, and also again reminding everyone that our attendance link will be displayed anytime. It is a surprise. Okay, so our video is now ready. Once again, Dr. George and Wong.
Yours truly is the focal person of MTB MLE for today's regional training of trainers. In this time of threat, challenges, and uncertainties brought by about COVID-19, the directive of our dear DepEd Secretary, Leonor Magtulis Briones, is to ensure the health, safety, and welfare of the learners, teachers, and personnel of the department, while also finding ways for learning to continue. And it is strongly supported by our beloved Regional Director, Dr. Evelyn R. Petalbero, and our CLM Chief, Dr. Janet G. Baloso. That is why we have the MELCs, or most essential learning competencies, in all subject area. Process identifying the MELCs. So we have the framework here. We get it from the K-12 curriculum guide, and identify the essential learning competencies, and you have to again select the most essential learning competencies. So with this pandemic for the year 2020-21, with the different delivery modes or model of instructions. MELCs in mother tongue. What are the MELCs in the mother tongue? The endurance criterion was used in the process of identifying the MELCs. Which learning competencies were considered enduring if the learning competencies or LC is useful in lifelong learning. But be reminded, the field, you are encouraged to contextualize the most essential learning competencies in order to accommodate the varying context of learners, teachers, learning environment, and support and performance standard. With this, Filipino learners are guaranteed with relevant and quality basic education despite the current health crisis. Endurance. Those that work in close association with other competencies in other subjects. Example, interprets a pictograph based on given legend. As we go on with our seminar or training, we have to consider the number of learning competencies in mother tongue. So we have here for grade 1, mother tongue curriculum guide, we have 768, and most essential learning competencies 71. For grade 2, we have 602 curriculum guide and MELCs and 26 MELCs. Total of 1,738 for curriculum guide and 135 MELCs. MELCs are considerably less than the original number of learning competencies in the curriculum because of two factors. A, we have recurrence limited. For example, grade 1. For grade 1, the learning competencies for grade 1, we have participate actively questions. Grade 2, if you observe, there's a recurrence here. Participate actively during story reading by making comments and asking questions in using complete sentences. MELCs are possibly, okay, B, to merge and how did we come with MELCs in mother tongue? So we have the process, we retain, replace, merge, or clustered, and drop or discards. We have also to consider the grade level standards. For grade 1, the learner demonstrates basic communication skills in talking about the familiar topics using simple words and both verbal and non-verbal cues to understand. Spoken language shows understanding of basic vocabulary and language structures, reading processes, writing system, and appreciates aspects of one's culture. For grade 2, the learner demonstrates communication skills in talking about variety of topics using developing vocabulary and simple phrases and sentences, simple to complex spoken language using both verbal and non-verbal cues, understands vocabulary and language structure, appreciates and understands the cultural aspect of the language and writing system use, and reads and writes system and shows. For grade 3, the learners demonstrates communication skills in talking about variety of topics using expanding vocabulary and phrases, shows understanding of spoken verbal and non-verbal cues, vocabulary and language structures, cultural aspects of the language, reads and writes literary and informational texts. Grade level standards are maintained through the chosen MELCs, as we have discussed a while ago. To use MELCs in mother tongue is another example. Subtask the MELCs. Grade level or quarter. So grade 2, just the first quarter, the MELCs is give the summary of the story. We have to subdivide it in sub-competencies or subtopics. Give the main idea of the story poem or poem. And another sub-competencies, we have give the correct sequence of 3 to 5 events in the story. And the last one, we have note important details in grade level narrative text, a character, B, setting, C, plot, problem or resolution. 3 is reteach the MELCs as needed. So the sense that the learners did not fully reach your objective, then teacher must reteach the said MELCs. 4, you have to plan. Decide on the duration of MELCs depending on the needs of the learner. So it's high time for the teachers, the principals, and of course, supervisors to revisit the classroom for this purpose. So with that, I give you the word of Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it's done. Thank you. Maraming salamat po. Stay safe and God bless.
Hi, Sir Rafi. Okay, and that was Dr. George and Wong for the multigrade competencies. Okay, so I guess my partner in hosting is having some difficulty. So I hope dili mo mapulan sa akong noun. Kaya ako lang sa jud karon. And then up next for the most essential learning competencies in Filipino, let us welcome one of the education program supervisors of the Curriculum and Learning Management Division, Dr. Mary Jane M. Mejorada, okay, for the competencies in Filipino.
Sa lahat, aking pagpupugay sa ating panrehiyong Dr. Evelyn Dr. Maria Ines Asuncion, CESO 5, sa Hepe ng Curriculum and Learning Management Division, Dr. Janet G. Veloso, sa mga tagapamanihalang pansangay, ang mga Hepe ng Curriculum and Implementation Division, mga tagamasid pansangay ng 11 dibisyon, kasama ang buong kaguruan ng Filipino, sa lahat ng nanunood at nakikinig, ang aking pagsaludo sa inyong presensya ngayon. Dumako naman tayo sa asignaturang Filipino. Ang oryentasyon sa paggamit ng pinakamahalagang kasanayang pampagkatuto o MELCs. Unahin natin ang kaligiran ng pagkakabuo ng ELCs to MELCs. Bago pa man ang pandemya, ang Bureau of Curriculum and Learning, ang Bureau of Curriculum Division ay nagkaroon ng inisyatibo sa pagtukoy ng mga mahalagang kasanayang pampagkatuto. Experts at field implementors na pagkasunduan ang panuntunan na gagamiting mekanismo upang mapagtibay ang pagtukoy ng mga kasanayang pampagkatuto. Sa pagtuturo ng Filipino, ang gabay natin ay ang konseptual na balangkas. Ng Filipino curriculum na makalinang ng isang buo at ganap na Pilipinong may kapaki-pakinabang na literacy. Lilinangin ang kakayahang komunikatibo gamit ang 5 makrong kasanayan, reflektibo at may papanuring pag-iisip, pagpapahalagang pampanitikan, pambansang pagkakakilanlan, kultural na literacy, patuloy na pagkatuto upang makaagapay sa mabilis na pagbabagong nagaganap sa daigdig, gamit ang mga lunsarang babasahin at teknolohiya. Magtatagumpay ito sa suporta ng kurikulum, ng guro, ng kagamitang pagtuturo, ng lipunan, pribado at pampubliko, media, tahanan, pamahalaang lokal at administratibo. Sa Filipino, ang kabuuang kasanayan ay umabot ng 2,378. Bilang ng kasanayang pagkatuto mula K to 8 sa essential learning competency ay nabawasan, naging 1,790 at sa most essential learning competencies ay naging 708 na po. Kaya ito ay umabot ng 29.77% ang pagbaba ng ating kasanayang pampagkatuto. Sa K-12 versus MELCs, pansinin natin ang talahanayang ito. Sa grade 1, ang 195 naging 48, grade 2, 284 to 37, grade 3, 272 to 55, grade 4, 343 to 102, Grade 5, 312 to 50. Grade 7, 169 to 47. Grade 8, 152 to 73. Grade 9, 179 to 103. At grade 10, 198, bumaba ng 135. Kaya from 2,378 naging 708. At ito po ang sa katabi po dito na talahanayan ang curriculum guide breakdown per quarter. Ito sa K-12, ito naman ang bago ngayon sa MELCs. Alamin natin ang proseso sa pagpili at pagbuo ng MELC. Ito ay nabuo sa Endurance ni Ribs 2002 at ni Manny and Horrell noong 2014. Ito po ang pinagbatayan, ang pananaw at hypothesis testing. Ang isang kasanayang pampagkatuto, ang learning competency o kasanayang pampagkatuto ay nagiging enduring o magtatagal ika nga if it remains with any learners long after a test or unit of study is completed or if it is useful beyond a single test or unit of study. Magtatagal siya kapag nagagamit sa totoong buhay sa letter A. At letter B naman, kung lubhang kailangan upang matutunan ang iba pang asignatura. O naobserbahan. So, nagagamit sa totoong buhay. Letter B, nakasusulat ng isang balangkas mula sa mga nakalap na impormasyon mula sa binasa. Lubhang kailangan. So, isinalang-alang din ang pagsasakatuparan ng mga pabantayan sa bawat baitang. Ang mga kasanayang pampagkatuto ay dumaan sa 4 na proseso. May mga kasanayang pampagkatuto na pinanatili, may pinagsama, may tinanggal, at may inayos. Pinanatili kung umayon sa kriteriya at may malaking gampanin na makamit ang inaasahang malinang sa pagtamo ng kasanayan sa susunod na baitang. Pinagsama naman ang kasanayang pampagkatuto kung may pagkakatulad na layunin na pinagsama sa iisang komprehensibong kasanayang pampagkatuto. Tinanggal naman kung may tiyak na pag-uulit at pagkakatulad sa mga layunin na pinagsama na itinuturing na di paganap na ituro at linangin at mahirap na maisagawa ng libel ng mga mag-aaral. At inayos naman kung tumpak na dapat linangin. Proseso ng MELCs. Pinanatili kapag nahuhulaan ang susunod na mangyayari sa napakinggang kwento. Nasusuri kung opinyon o katotohanan ang pahayag. Ang lahat ito ay Filipino grade 1 at Filipino grade 4. So, pinanatili yan. Ito naman ay pinagsama o merge dahil ang patutunguhan iba lamang sa talata at sa tula. So, ang kabuuan na ibibigay ang paksa ng talata at tula. Tinanggal naman kapag nakagagawa ng sariling maikling pelikula. Ito ay pangkatang gawain. So, sa panahon natin ngayon, wala po tayong face-to-face, kaya imposible po na ito po ay magawa ng ating mga mag-aaral. So, ito po ay tinanggal. Inayos naman orihinal na kasanayang pampagkatuto dahil pareho lamang po ang patutunguhan na iuulat at naiuulat. Ang pagkakaiba lamang ay paaralan, silid-aralan at telebisyon. Ang kabuuan po na iuulat ng pasalita ang mga naobserbahang pangyayari sa paligid, bahay, komunidad, paaralan at sa mga napanood sa telebisyon, cellphone at computer. So yan po ay inayos at pinag-isa pareho po na kasanayang pampagkatuto sa grade 1. Sa K-Stage 1 o baitang 1 to 3, alamin natin ang pagkasunod-sunod ng spiral progression mula sa nauunawaan ng mga mag-aaral ang pasalita at di pasalitang paraan ng pagpapahayag, dumako sa ikalawang baitang, nasasabi. So yun na ang pangalawa, maayos na nakasusulat upang maipahayag at maiugnay ang sariling ideya, damdamin at karanasan. Sa ikatlong baitang, nakapagbibigay ito po ang kinalabasan kung napansin ninyo sa K-12, 195 naging 48, 284 to 37, 272 to 55. Tama po kayo. Nung kami po ay nagkaroon ng pakighinabi, ito po ang kinalabasan, breakdown ng bawat quarter sa stage K-stage 1. Okay, sa unang baitang, ito po ang mga halimbawa. Nagkaroon po ng pinagsama o merge o clustered ang tatlong linangin sa mga kasanayang pampagkatuto na nakalista sa ELC. Kaya minabuting pagsamahin na lang ang mga ito gamit ang iba't ibang uri ng mahalagang kasanayang pampagkatuto o MELCs na nabuo. Nasasagot ang mga tanong tungkol sa napakinggang pabula, tugma, tula at tekstong pang-impormasyon. So kung napansin ninyo, pinag-isama natin ang pabula, tugma at tekstong pang-impormasyon. Sa ikalawang baitang naman, ang unang kasanayang pampagkatuto ay pinanatili. Ito po, pinanatili. Samantalang ang tatlong kasanayang pampagkatuto, sumunod ay tinanggal na dahil ito ay paulit-ulit na nabanggit sa loob ng isang baitang. Tingnan ninyo, ang Filipino grade 2 lahat ito, paulit-ulit na binanggit sa isang baitang. So, ang kabuuan, nagagamit ang unang kaalaman o karanasan sa pag-unawa ng napakinggang teksto. So, ibig sabihin, naging malinaw na po dahil pinagsama na po natin, pinanatili po natin at meron tayong tinanggal para maiwasan ang pag-uulit. Sa ikatlong baitang naman, may tinanggal na dalawa at may inayos at pinagsama. Paano? Ang dahilan, tinanggal na ang dalawang naunang kasanayang pampagkatuto dahil ang mga ito ay kahalintulad lang ng mga sumunod na kasanayang pampagkatuto. Pinagsama at inayos na lamang ang tatlong natirang kasanayan dahil ito ay lumilinang lang ng isasalaysay muli ang napakinggang teksto, ito pareho lang, at inayos at pinagsama na merge po natin at ito na ang kabuuan na isasalaysay muli ang teksto ng may tamang pagkasunod-sunod ng mga pangyayari sa tulong ng pamatnubay na tanong at balangkas. So pansinin ninyo, pamatnubay na tanong at balangkas, pinag-isa. Sa K-Stage 2 naman, pansinin natin ang pagbabago. Baitang 4 to 6, ang pamantayan natin ay kakayahan sa pagbasa at pagsulat. Maipahayag ang kaalaman, ideya at damdaming angkop. Sa ikalimang baitang, kakayahan pa rin sa pakikipagtalastasan at may pagpapahalaga sa panitikan. Sa ika-6 na baitang, kakayahan pa rin sa pakikipagtalastasan, mapanuring pag-iisip at pagpapahalaga sa wika, panitikan at kultura. So, ibig sabihin, may pagkasunod-sunod. Okay, ito na, kinalabasan. Ang laki ng diferensya, kung mapapansin ninyo. Ang halimbawa, pinagsama. Ang dahilan, ang pinagsama itong tatlo, pinagsama ang kasanayang nais linangin sa mga tukoy na kasanayang pampagkatuto, kaya minabuting pagsamahin na ang mga ito. So, ang nabanggit dito ay pahayag, teksto at ulat. Tingnan natin ang kabuuan na pinagsama, nasasabi ang sanhi at bunga ayon sa nabasang pahayag, napakinggang teksto at napakinggang ulat. O, tingnan ninyo, pinagsama. O, di ba? Mas naging matibay at naging mas malinaw. Sa ikalimang baitang naman, tinanggal itong lahat. Bakit? Nakasusunod sa 2-3 hakbang na panuto. Tinanggal itong lahat Dahil sa napag-uulit-ulit na sa unang yugto o sa case stage 1, nabanggit na, kaya inaasahan na master na ito ng bata pagdating sa kalimang baitang. Ang competencing ito ay kasama na rin sa iba pang competency na nauukol sa pag-unawa sa iba't ibang teksto. At ang competencing ito ay magiging bahagi na ng proseso sa pagtuturo at pagkatuto bukod sa mahirap sukatin ang learning competency na ito. So ito ay hindi na pwedeng gamitin dahil ito ay tinanggal na upang magkaroon ng kalinawan. Nabanggit na kasi ito sa case stage 1. So sa baitang 6 o ika-6 na baitang, pinagsama naman natin ang 1, 2, 3, 4 na kasanayang pampagkatuto. Ibig sabihin, 4 pinagsama. Ang dahilan, isa lamang ang kasanayang nais linangin sa mga kasanayang pampagkatuto. Kaya pinagsama-sama na ito sa isang MELC. Pansinin natin ang kabuuan. Nasasagot ang mga tanong tungkol sa napakinggan at nabasa, napabula, kwento, tekstong pang-impormasyon at usapan. So ito na. Ibig sabihin, from 4, naging 1. Dahil pinagsama na sa ika-6 na baitang. Let's proceed to case stage 3 o baitang 7 to 10. Kung napansin niyo ay pamamalas na mag-aaral ang kakayahang komunikatibo, mapanuring pag-iisip at pag-unawa at ito naman ay kulturang Pilipino. Dito naman ay pagkakakilanlang Asyano sa ika-9 na baitang. At sa ika-10 baitang ay sa kamalayang global. Ito lang ang pagkakaiba ng pamantayan ng case stage 3. Ngayon, alamin natin sa grade 7 from 169 down to 47, from 152 down to 73, from 179 sa grade 9 to 103, 198 to 135 ang grade 10. Alamin natin ang mga inayos at pinagsama sa kasanayang pampagkatuto sa ika-7 baitang. Ang dahilan, diba, kung napansin natin, ang keyword dito, kahulugan, 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 at kasing kahulugan. So, mahalaga ang kasanayang ito sa pag-unawa sa binasa na kailanganin ng mga mag-aaral, kaya inayos lamang ang pangungusap at pinagsama na sa isang kasanayang pampagkatuto ang mga paraan ng pagbibigay ng kahulugan para hindi na po paulit-ulit. Liwanag ang kahulugan ng salita sa pamamagitan ng pagpapangkat batay sa konteksto ng pangungusap, denotasyon at konotasyon ito. So, ibig sabihin, isa na, malinaw na, mas klaro na. Sa ika-8 baitang naman, inayos lang din natin. Isinama ang kasanayang pagkatuto na ito dahil kailangan ng ating mag-aaral na maging mapanuri sa mga pinanood sa telebisyon para maging tiyak na ipinagagawa, isinaayos ang kasanayang pagkatuto para maging MELC. So, naging nasusuri ang tema gamit ang mga salita at mga tauhan. Sa ika-9 naman na baitang, tinanggal natin ito, itatanghal ang dulang panteatro na pumapaksa sa ilang napapanahong isyo, panlipunan sa kasalukuyan. Bakit tinanggal? Tinanggal na ang mga kompetensing hindi na magagawa ng mga mag-aaral ng mag-isa dahil nangangailangan ng face-to-face na ugnayan. At sa ika-10 baitang naman, nagagamit ang angkop at masining na paglalarawan ng tao, pangyayari at damdamin. Ito ay pinanatili dahil ang kasanayang ito ay tumutugon sa kahingian ng endurance na nagagamit sa pakikipag-ugnayan sa ibang tao. Ang kabuuan, nagagamit ang angkop at masining na paglalarawan ng tao, pangyayari at damdamin. Sa senior high school naman, mapapansin natin, sa core subjects, meron tayong 2, komunikasyon at pananaliksik sa wika at kulturang Pilipino at pagbasa at pagsusuri ng iba't ibang teksto tungo sa pananaliksik. Ito ang kasanayang pampagkatuto. Tingnan natin mula 33 down to 29 at sa pagbasa naman ay 15, wala pong nabago. Mananatili po yun. Pansinin natin ang tinanggal sa komunikasyon at pananaliksik, nakasusulat ng isang panimulang pananaliksik sa mga penomenang kultural at panlipunan. Bakit po siya tinanggal? Inalis na ang kasanayang ito dahil or sapagkat nabanggit na ito o umulit na ito ng magkatulad na learning competency. Kung mapapansin ninyo sa kabuuan na ulit na po. At ito naman sa pagbasa at pagsusuri, natutukoy ang paksang tinalakay sa iba't tekstong binasa, pinanatili po natin dahil mahalaga ang kasanayang ito upang matutuhan ang mga susunod na kasanayang pampagkatuto at nakatugon ito sa pamantayan. Ika nga. Sa applied subjects, ito yung Filipino sa piling larang, meron tayong academic, may sports, may sining at disenyo at technical vocational. Sa Filipino sa piling larang academic, isa lang po ang natanggal. Sa piling larang ay isa rin po ang natanggal at nanatili naman sa sining at disenyo at technical vocational. Pansinin natin ang pinanatili natin sa Filipino sa piling larang na kapag sasagawa ng panimulang pananaliksik kaugnay ng kahulugan, kalikasan at katangian ng iba't ibang anyo ng sulating akademiko. At sa kasanayan sa pananaliksik. So mahalaga ito. Sa malikhaing pagsulat naman o specialized subject ika nga, mula 27 naging 26 lamang po. Ito yon, isinaayos lamang natin, natutukoy ang iba't ibang elemento, mga teknik, kagamitang pampanitikan sa panulaan. Isinaayos lamang dahil ginawang mas tiyak ang kasanayang pampagkatuto. Mas malinaw na naging natutukoy ang mga tiyak na anyo at kumbensyon sa panulaan. Paano gamitin ang mga MELC ngayon? So, ang mangyayari dahil ito ay pangkalahatan na at napansin nyo naman kanina na pinag-isa na, pinagsama na as one. So, hihimay-himayin nyo lamang sa isang linggo, kung isang MELC lamang, hihimay-himayin nyo lang para sa mga tiyak na kasanayang pampagkatuto. Paano gamitin ito? Halimbawa, ito yung pangkalahatan o pinakamahalagang kasanayang pampagkatuto. Paano hinimay? Naging kung ito ay nagagamit ng wasto ang mga pangalan at panghalip sa pagtalakay tungkol sa sarili sa mga tao, hayop, lugar, bagay at pangyayari sa paligid, sa usapan at paglalahad tungkol sa sariling karanasan. Ito po ay sa ikalimang baitang unang markahan. Paano natin hinimay? Ito na, natutukoy ang kahulugan ng mga pangalan at panghalip, nakapagbibigay ng mga halimbawa ng pangalan at panghalip, nakapagbibigay ng reaksyon sa isang usapin, at naisasalaysay ang sariling karanasan. Ibig sabihin, ang nalinang po natin ay magkaiba, pero iisang MELCs lamang o competency, hinimay natin upang mas malinaw. So, mayroon po tayong kalayaan na maghimay-himay. So, ito, paano gagamitin? Ulitin ang ilang MELC, pwede po sa iba pang markahan ng bawat baitang kung kinakailangan sa lalong paglinang nito. Halimbawa dito, sa unang baitang, ikatlong markahan, ikalawang baitang unang markahan, ikatlong baitang unang markahan, pareho lang po na ulit lang natin. Dahil kinakailangan po. Pero MELC na po ito. Ito, kung napansin ninyo. Okay? Aktual na halimbawa ng listahan ng MELCs, ito po ang makikita ninyo. So ito po ay uploaded na sa ating LR portal at sa ating LMS. Pumili ng mga magkasamang MELC na sasakto para sa 8 linggo. Maaring sumangguni din sa gabay pang kurikulum para sa pagpapasyang ito. Ang mahalaga, matarget ang mga kasanayang pampagkatuto na nasa MELC sa bawat baitang. Bukod sa pangsangguni sa gabay pang kurikulum, para sa pag-uulit ng isang kasanayang pampagkatuto at sa pagpapasyang pagsama-sama ng ilang MELC sa isang markahan, maaari ding sumangguni sa final na version ng MELCs kung saan makikita ang mga code dito. Again, ang final na version ng MELCs po ay nasa ating portal na at sa mga education program supervisor, meron na rin po silang kopya na pwede maibigay sa inyo. Meron na rin po yung code. Ang mga code ang nagsasabi kung ano-ano mga LC ang pinagsama-sama sa bawat MELC. Paalala lamang po, binibigyang laya ang mga guro na makapili ng mga magkakasamang MELC sa bawat linggo. Ang layunin sa pagpili ng mga MELC ay hindi upang palitan ang kasalukuyang curriculum guide, kundi upang magabayan ang mga guro sa pagtukoy ng mga kompetensing mas kinakailangan ng mga mag-aaral sa taong panuruang 2020 to 2021. So, ibig sabihin, hinihikayat pa rin ang mga guro na sumangkuni sa curriculum guide ng Filipino. Muli, isang pagpapala ang makapaglingkod sa bayan. Maraming salamat, pamilyang Filipino. Ito po si Ginang Mary Jane M. Mejorada, ang Education Program Supervisor ng Filipino.
At iyon po, ang isa sa ating mga supervisor ng programang pang-edukasyon, Dr. Mary Jane M. Mejorada, para sa mga pinakamahahalagang kasanayang pampagkatuto sa asignaturang Filipino. Okay, nagtagalog sadta. Announcement from our technical team, in filling up the attendance form po, please daw, pag-fill up ang complete data po, especially your full name. Start po sa surname, then given name, and then the middle initial. And then, up next, for the most essential learning competencies in English, let us welcome one of the education program supervisors of DepEd, Region 11, Dr. Manuel P. Vallejo.
To our Regional Director, Dr. Evelyn R. Fitalvero, our Assistant Regional Director, Dr. Maria Inesi Asuncion, to our CLMD Chief, Dr. Janet G. Veloso, to all chiefs of the regional office, functional divisions, our schools division superintendents, assistant schools division superintendents, all regional education program supervisors, CID chiefs and division Fs, and to all LMS trainers in the learning areas, the regional technical working group and staff, and of course, the English participants. Once again, a bountiful and healthful day to all of us. Well, to start, on and in behalf of the Bureau of Learning Delivery and the Bureau of Curriculum Development, I would like to cascade to you regional trainers the here in PowerPoint presentation on the most essential learning competencies or MELCs in English for grades 1 to 12. Well, due to COVID-19, the Department of Education urgently prepared the Learning Continuity Plan, or LCP, that highlights on the shortened academic calendar, different delivery models, and identification of MELCs. And then, as we all know, that prior to the pandemic, the BCD started working on the identification of essential learning competencies in the past 18 months as part of its initiative in reviewing the intended curriculum, where Bureau specialists, academic experts, and field implementers worked collaboratively employing the consensus judgment approach. And these LCs were determined based on a US-developed competency validation rubric intended to assure that learning competencies can reach the highest level of quality and comparability across schools, with adaptations being made to improve relevance by accounting the Philippine context. By the way, what is an ELC? It is aligned with national, state, and or local standards, frameworks. Then it connects the content to higher concepts across content areas. It is applicable to real-life situations. It is more important than other LCs. Then it is not expected to be learned from parents or communities. Everybody is aware that we have various of learning competencies, as we can see in our curriculum guide. But then these 3,120 competencies are being converted into MELCs. In totality, there are 229. Like for instance, grade 1, current CG, 56, then MELCs, 12, and so on and so forth. So take note, we only have 229 for the MELCs. So now, in order to ensure that the grade level standards are maintained, the endurance criterion was used as the sole determiner for the MELCs, which requires that a learning competency or LC be useful in lifelong learning. Then to simplify that, the word endurance means continuous and long lasting. Now, which LCs were considered enduring? First, those that work in close association with other competencies and other subjects, maintaining the curricular quality of integration. Example, for grade 4, quarter 1, identify different meanings of content, specific words, denotation, and connotation. Next, those that do not recur, recurrence is limited per key stage while observing spiral progression. In other competencies in which we could observe recurrence, meaning to say repetitive. Like for example, for key stage 2, for grade 6, quarter 2, the competency is detect biases and propaganda devices used by speakers. And then for key stage 3, grade 8, quarter 3, examine biases for or against made by the author. So this does not mean that the teacher is prohibited from teaching an LC more than once. Following the principle of curriculum flexibility and differentiated instruction, he or she is strongly advised to put focus and therefore repeat an LC should circumstance require. Ayan, so ibig sabihin, teacher factor pa rin as far as pedagogy or any other strategies. So as it requires, the teacher has really do something to modify just to reach out the learners. Another one, those LCs of the same nature that can be clustered together. As you can see the diagram, no? I mean, this illustration is very clear that among the many, these competencies are going to be clustered. Ayan. Okay, like this table here, that there are competencies, and then this encircled with the red marks, yep, are being studied until such time, no? Okay, this is actually the result of clustering. That is why it came out that the competency is to note significant details of various text types. In other words, from micro, nagiging macro siya. From many, nagiging ano na, one major thing. So that's it. Now, cluster competencies require unpacking and subtasking so that bigger or broader LCs may be broken down into manageable sub-competencies. Like, for example, use a variety of informative, persuasive, and argumentative writing techniques. This would entail a number of other competencies in order for it to be achieved. Ito na yung basihan niya. 1, making a strand. 2, gathering information from various sources. And the third one is citing sources of information. Now, how are the MELCs organized? So ito na. Okay, so you can see that there are competencies here that are being deleted, and the purpose of which is to be organized. Ayan. So that means for integration. And then the MELCs were arranged in a list based on cognitive demand, which makes a way for better curriculum flexibility as teachers are able to freely integrate the learning competencies without the restrictions of horizontal alignment. Now for the grading period, so we say from quarters 1, 2, 3, 4. So here are the learning competencies. English, grade 6. Dito na nga. So for quarter 1, identify real or make-believe fact or non-fact images. Then interpret the meaning suggested in visual media through a focus on visual elements. For example, lines, symbols, color, gaze, framing, and social distance. And then make connections between information viewed and personal experiences. And then for quarters 2, identify the purpose, key structural, and language features of various types of informational factual text. Recognize evaluative word choices to detect biases and propaganda devices used by speakers. And compare in contrast content of materials viewed to other sources of information, just like print, online, and broadcast. And then now for the quarters 3, present a coherent comprehension report on different viewpoints of an issue and evaluate narratives based on how the author developed the elements. And then for the fourth quarters, compose clear and coherent sentences using appropriate conjunction and then adverbs, and then compose persuasive essay on self-selected topics. The schedule and time allotment of LCs in quarters are suggestive in nature. The duration of an LC is relative. What is required is that the list of competencies be achieved in the specified grade level. Another one is because content and performance standards in the English curriculum are described in such detail, the process of determining the MELCs required that some of these standards be forgone. And take note that we have 4 standards. We have the program, the grade level, the content, and the performance. Now let us have the walkthrough of the MELCs into 3 case stages. Now for case stage 1, that's for grades 1 to 3. Okay, grade level standards for grade 1. The learner listens for comprehension, speaks clearly, and uses appropriate expressions in talking about oneself, family, and other social context interactions. Grade 2. The learner listens critically to one to two paragraphs, use appropriate expressions in varied situations, and then read text for pleasure and information, critically and meaningful thought units, responds properly to environmental prints like signs, posters, comments, and requests, and writes legibly simple sentences in English with appropriate punctuation, punctuation, punctuation,
Ayan, medyo nawala na naman po yung ating mga team streamer doon po sa Luna Nacional. Pero okay lang po yan para medyo makapag-break po muna tayo. And we have here comments from our dear participants. And also, sa lahat po ng mga nakaantabay ngayon, you may now start posting your questions. Meron na pong iba't ibang mga questions. Pwede na po nating simulan din sa pag-post kasi in a little while, in a short while, we will be having the open forum. And we will be joined by our dear Public Schools District Supervisor and by our assigned school head for the day. And we have here Sir Manuel Matagel. Good morning. Good morning also to you, sir. And let me remind everyone, if you will post pictures or comments, please use the hashtag. I will be showing the hashtag here below. Yan. Yang tumatakbo sa baba. Hashtag EmbraceLMS. Hashtag LMS KapWest. Hashtag Sulong Edukalidad. And please stay tuned po. We are having internet problems for a while, but we will be back in a few seconds. And samtang ginaplastar pa, pag nanaang, ayun. Sige.
Right. So these are all called merged. Okay, this group of words that are blocked, yep, with the red marks. So these are merged and then converted into one. So the retained or rephrased now as milk, ito na. So this becomes read phrases, short sentences, and short stories consisting of words, right? Short the a, the I, the o, and the a. Then answer the who, what, and where questions about them. Again, this milk is retained, rephrased, basing from the merged LCs. Okay, next one is ito na. Another learning competency from K-12 English CG, mark and expressions and polite greetings. Why is it dropped? There is justification of that. That during the curriculum review in the 2019, this is one of the LCs tagged as desirable and was therefore no longer retained as a MELC. So that was the justification of English CG retained as MELC. Review, reading, and writing short a, I, o, in a, words in CVC pattern. So the justification goes this way. This is an example of an LC from the CG that is retained to ensure a smooth flow of transition from reading to writing. Thus, a review of the short sound is necessary. This will also be helpful in case not all the short sounds were covered in the previous grade level. Now let us have a walkthrough of the MELCs, and this time for Key Stage 2 from grades 4 to 6. Now for the grade level standards, grade 4, the learner listens critically to various text types and expresses ideas accurately in both oral and written forms. Whatever the needs, and reads independently and gets relevant information from various text types. And then for grade 5, the learner listens critically to different text types, including news reports and other radio broadcasts, needs independently and gets relevant information from various text types, expresses ideas accurately and logically in oral and written forms, demonstrates interests in reading and confidence in the use of the language to meet various everyday needs. And then for the grade 6, the learner listens critically, communicates feelings and ideas orally, in writing with the high level of proficiency, and reads various text types, materials to serve learning needs in meeting a wide range of life's purposes. Now, again, out of many learning competencies, these are clustered into: use context clues to find meanings of unfamiliar words. Now, the learning competency from K to 12 English CG considered dropped: show willingness and enthusiasm in reading or listening to a literary text. And then the justification why this LC is dropped: all LCs under the attitude domain were deleted as this may be subsumed in another learning area, example ESP, that focuses on attitude affirmation. So when we say subsume, this is actually absorbed, no, into other LC. And this particular LC pala is on the other learning area, which is ESP. Another LC from K to 12, why is it retained as MELC? Write or compose an editorial. The justification on this is the identified LC was considered as MELC and therefore retained because it satisfied the endurance criterion, which states that a learning competency or LC should play a role in lifelong learning. In particular, given the cognitive demand of the LC, unpacking it would be necessitate, or it would necessitate a number of other essential LCs, like for example, making a strand, developing arguments, supporting claims with evidence. Again, the highlighted word in here is endurance. So meaning to say, um, continuous, and the other term for that is long lasting. Now let's have a walkthrough of the MELCs for Key Stage 3 for grades 7 to 10. Now the grade level standards for grade 7. The learner demonstrates communicative competence through his/her understanding of Philippine literature and other text types for a deeper appreciation of Philippine culture. And then for grade 8, the learner demonstrates communicative competence through his or her understanding of Afro-Asian literature and other text types for a deeper appreciation of Philippine culture and those of other countries. And then for grade 9, the learner demonstrates communicative competence through his or her understanding of British American literature, including Philippine literature and other text types, for a deeper appreciation of the Philippine culture and those of other countries. And for grade 10, the learner demonstrates communicative competence through his or her understanding of literature and other text types for a deeper appreciation of world literature, including the Philippine literature. Now, the competencies now encircled with the red marks. Okay, the first one is use appropriate idiomatic expressions in a variety of basic interpersonal communicative situations. Since this LC style develops skills in employing a variety of interpersonal communication strategies, they merge into the MELC. And another one, select an appropriate colloquial or idiomatic word or expression as a substitute for another word or expression. So the competency for this is to employ a variety of strategies for effective interpersonal communication, as such, interview, dialogue, conversation, and many others. Now, This learning competency was retained. Okay, the competency goes like this: express one's beliefs, convictions based on the material viewed. Why is it retained? Due to its compliance to the endurance criterion. Expressing one's belief or conviction on material viewed is an indication that a learner has already established skills on making a stand taught in earlier grade level. Another one, these learning competencies were dropped due to recurrence. What are these competencies? Ito na, so listen for important points signaled by volume, projection, pitch, stress. Yep, same thing with parang nagkaiba lang doon sa first word then followed by almost similar words. Note the changes in volume, projection, pitch, stress, intonation, juncture, and rate of speech. Another one, listen for important points. Okay, there's that volume, projection, stress, intonation. Then next is, they almost have the same words used here. And then these learning competencies were dropped due to recurrence. Ayan, due to repetition. So these competencies now are being subsumed in. That's why you have to employ now a variety of strategies for effective interpersonal communication. And then pasok na dyan ang interview, dialogue, conversation. Ayan. So, again, from dropping into subsuming. Ayan, tama ba ang aking term? So, the new competency now is to employ a variety of strategies. Okay. Now for case stage 4, the senior high school grades 11 to 12. So we have the course description with the course subject, the reading and writing for grades 11 and 12, the development of reading and writing skills as applied to a wide range of materials other than poetry, fiction, and drama. Okay. I want you to see the learning competencies. The first one, the learner now is to describe a written text as connected discourse. And then number 4, identifies properties of a well-written text as to organization, coherence, and cohesion, the language use, and the mechanics. You know, these LCs were merged into a modified LC since both develop skills on written text. So the final one now is evaluate a written text based on its properties as to organization, coherence, and cohesion, the language use, and mechanics. The competency process explains how one's purpose is a crucial consideration in academic and professional writing. You know, this LC was dropped since it is already subsumed in the competency below. Thus, identifies the unique features of and requirements in composing text that are useful across disciplines, like a book review or article critic, literature review, research report, project proposal, and position paper. Ayan, so to all participants,
Ayan. And that was Dr. Manuel P. Vallejo for the English competencies. Before we move on to our next speaker, allow me first to say sorry po for the technical problem we are experiencing right now. Kami po ay humihingi po sa inyo ng paumanhin Sa atin pong mga teacher participants, meron po talagang pagkakataon po na hindi po natin kontrolado lahat ng bagay. Despite of that, laban lang para sa bata, laban para sa bayan, solong edukalidad. Ayan po. At before that, please be reminded that you can now type your question in our comment box, because after our next speaker would be our open forum. So, our dear teachers, we are encouraging you to please ask question po para po sa ating mga dignitaries. Sasagutin po mamaya lang po, no, after our last speaker. Ayan po. So moving on, for the most essential learning competencies in mathematics, let us all welcome on screen one of the education supervisors of the Curriculum and Learning Management Division, Dr. Renato N. Pakpakin.
Education that pervades life at any age and in any circumstance. Thus, its value goes beyond the classroom and school. Mathematics as a school subject, therefore, must be learned comprehensively and with much depth. So the twin goals of mathematics in the basic education levels, K to 10, are critical thinking and problem solving. Critical thinking, according to Stephen and Ford, 1987, is the intellectual discipline process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, or evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning, communication as a guide to a belief and action. So on the other hand, mathematical problem solving is a way around to find solution around a difficulty, around an obstacle, and finding a solution to a problem that is unknown. So these two goals are to be achieved with an organized, rigorous curriculum content, a well-defined set of high-level skills and processes, desirable attitude and values, appropriate tools, taking into account the different context of the Filipino learners. So there are 5 content areas in the curriculum as adapted from the framework. We have numbers and number sense, measurement, geometry, patterns in algebra, and probability and statistics. So the specific skills and processes to be developed are knowing and understanding, estimating, computing, solving, visualizing and modeling, representing, communicating, conjecturing, reasoning, proving, decision making, applying, and connecting. So the following values and attitude are to be honed as well. We have accuracy, creativity, objectivity, perseverance, and productivity. So we recognize that the use of appropriate tools is necessary in teaching mathematics. So this includes manipulative objects, measuring devices, calculators and computers, smartphones, and tablets, PCs, and the internet. So let us move to the identification of the most essential learning competencies from our current curriculum guide, learning competencies. So the Department of Education conducted a curriculum review of the intended curriculum. So they map essential and desirable competencies. They identify the prerequisite knowledge and skills within the learning area, conduct analysis of interconnectedness of prerequisite knowledge and skills among learning competencies across learning areas. So from the curriculum review of grade 2, second quarter, number sense, for competencies number 24, for example, 24, 27, the four competencies are considered essential learning competencies. And how do we know that the competencies are essential? If that competency is what the students need, considered indispensable for building skills, to equip learners for the next grade level and for lifelong learning. So these were considered as essential. And because they were essential, of course, they have to undergo endurance criterion. As we can see from their identification of MELCs, they have identified that only competency 24 and 27 satisfies endurance criterion. How do we know that the competency satisfies the endurance criterion? What do we mean by endurance? Okay, so endurance is the competency will remain with learners long after a test or unit of study is completed if it is useful beyond a single test or unit of a study. So we are also merging number 25 and number 26, that's the action taken. Because as we can see from the two competencies are related and may be harmonized, unified for a more focused development of the concept. Here, another example, we have curriculum review of grade 2 again. So for competencies number 28, 29, 30, 31. So only competency number 29 and 30 are considered essential. So the competency 28 and 31 were considered desirable. And upon identification of MELC, those desirable competencies were taken out as included as most essential learning competencies. So what left? Competency number 29 and 30, of which they are considered essential. How do we know that? How to determine that the competency is a desirable competency? If that competency will only enhance education, but will not be necessary in building foundational skills of our learners. So that is desirable competencies. Another example for curriculum review of grade 6 measurement. Competency number 70, 1, 72, 73, 75, 76 were essential, and 74 and 77 were considered desirable. But during their identification, they also did not include and drop competency number 71 because it was identified that the learning competency is more of a teacher's action. How to use the MELCs, the most essential learning competencies in mathematics. First, appraise the content standards in each quarter of your grade level. The content standards guide you in tracking the learning content to focus per quarter. Plan the instructional activities based on performance standards, that is designing instructional activities tasks suited for the type of learning delivery modality you use. Contextualize the instructional tasks whenever necessary. Number 3, examine the identified MELC for each quarter, and you have to remember this time routine flexible, because what is being prioritized is the development of math skills over competence in content knowledge. So the MELC is the learning goal for the quarter. And task is the MELC is a big chunk of a learning goal. That is why at the end of my presentation, we will be discussing unpacking of competencies, because there were also competencies that were of a big chunk of a learning goal. So let us compare the number of learning competencies in the original curriculum guide that we're using now and that we are presently using, and the essential learning competencies and the most essential learning competencies. For grade 1, we have current curriculum guide, a total of 66 learning competencies, down to 62 considered as essential learning competencies. and we only have 38, the most essential learning competencies. So for grades 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, a total of 741 learning competencies. And we have only 657 essential learning competencies with a total of 543 identified as the most essential learning competencies. Let us compare also the number of competencies retained, dropped, merged from the original curriculum guide by grade level. As we can see, those grade level with the highest number of competencies being retained is grade 9. Grade 9. And the most number of competencies are being merged and replaced grade 1. The most number of competencies dropped is grade 5 and grade 6. So that's the comparison. Let us now have a walkthrough of the stage 1 now. So for mathematics grade 1, quarter 1, we have a total of 10 competencies identified as the most essential learning competencies. Because some of the competencies were merged, replaced, dropped. Like for example, for competencies number 1 and number 6, 7, and 2 and 8 were merged and replaced. And competency number 4 was dropped. Number 12 and number 13 merged and replaced. 14 and 15 merged and replaced. So for mathematics grade 1 quarter 2, a total of 8 competencies identified as the most essential, because learning competency 27 and 36 were dropped, 21 and also 22. So competency number 18, 19, 28, 23, 24, 25 were merged and replaced because they are related competencies. For grade 1 second quarter, for competency number 30, 31, 32, those were merged and replaced, or 32, number 30 competency was dropped. For grade 1 quarter 3, we have a total of 12 identified most essential learning competencies, because competency number 39, 40 were merged and replaced, and 41 and 42 were also merged and replaced. The competency number 48, 49 also were merged and replaced. For quarter 4, grade 1, a total of 8 competencies considered as most essential. Competency number 58, 59, and 60 were merged and replaced, while competencies 61, 62, 65, and 66 were dropped. For mathematics grade quarter 1, we have a total of 14 most essential learning competencies, because competency number 1, 2 were merged, 7, 8 merged, 9, 10, and 11 were also merged. It is because competencies are related and some were subsumed in some of the competencies. Competency number 16, 17 merged, replaced. Competency number 18, 19, 20, 21 were merged and replaced, while competency number 22 was dropped. Quarter 2 of mathematics grade 2, we have 10 most essential learning competencies, because learning competency number 28, 31, 41 were dropped. Competency number 25 and number 26 were merged and replaced. For mathematics second quarter, grade 2, competency number 32, 33 merged, replaced. 34, 35, 36 were also merged and replaced. Competency number 39 and 40 merged and replaced, which were related. So we just move to quarter 3 of grade 2, a total of 15 most essential learning competencies. Competency number 43 and 48 dropped. Competency number 51, 52 merged and replaced. Competency number 54, 55 merged and replaced. Okay, 58 dropped. For Competency number 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, and 68 were all dropped because definitely the reason I dropped in learning competencies were integrated in some art subjects. So for quarter 4 of mathematics grade 2, we only have 15 competencies, most essential. Because competency number 70, 71 were merge and replace. Competency number 72, 74 merge replace. 73 and 78 merge replace because they were related. 77, 79 again merge replace. While 83, 84, 80, while 83 and 84 were dropped. So for competency number 88, 89, 92, and 93, those competencies were dropped because they observed that competency 88 and 89 were not approved for grade 2. So they are still to master reading and writing skills. So we have written from the action taken. So for mathematics grade 3, quarter 1, we have most essential learning competencies of 15. While learning competency number 15 and 24 is dropped. Competency number 5 and 6 merge and replace. 8 and 9 merge and replace. 13, 14 merge and replace. 19 and 20 merge and replace. For quarter 2 of grade 3, we only have 14 most essential learning competencies because learning competency number 36 and 45 were dropped. Learning competency number 25 and 26, 27 were all merged and replaced because related. So competencies number 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 merged and replaced. So competencies number 40 and 41 merged and replaced. So let us move to quarter 3 of mathematics grade 3. Total of 13 most essential learning competencies. Because competencies number 27, 49 were merged and replaced. 50 and 51, 52 were also merged and replaced, while competency number 60 was dropped. It's integrated in the art subject. For mathematics grade 3, quarter 4, we have only 13 most essential learning competencies. Because competency number 63, 64 were merged and replaced. Competency number 65 was replaced. Competency number 58 and 69 merged and replaced. Competency number 71, 72, 74, those competencies were dropped. So let us now move to our walkthrough, stage 2 now. Let us start with quarter 1 of mathematics grade 4. For mathematics grade 4, part 1, we only have 14 most essential learning competencies. In the identification of those essential learning competencies, competency number 12 and 19 were dropped. Competencies number 3 and 5 were merged and replaced. Competencies 14 and 15 merged and replaced. Competency number 20, 21 merged and replaced. For quarter 2, for grade 4, we have only 18 identified most essential learning competencies. Because learning competency number 29 and 28 were dropped. 26, 26 and 27 were merged and replaced, while 30, 35 were dropped. Okay, so let us move to quarter 3 of grade 4. Total of 17 learning most essential learning competencies. Competency number 45, 46 were merged and replaced. Competencies number 60, 66, and 67 were dropped. For quarter 4 of math grade 4, we only have 15 MELCs. Because 69, number 59 competencies, 71, 23, 26, and 86 were all dropped competencies. For mathematics grade 5, quarter 1, total only of 17 identified most essential learning competencies. Because learning competencies 8, 14, 15, 23, and 28 were dropped. Competencies number 1, 2, 3 were also dropped. Competencies number 9 and 10 merge and insert. Competencies number 11 and 12, merge and integrate. 15 and 16, also merge and integrate. So, quarter 2 of grade 5, total of 19, most essential learning competencies. Learning competency number 37 and 48 were dropped. Learning competency number 33, 35, 38, and 43 were dropped because those competencies does not satisfy the endurance criteria. Learning competency number 45, 46, and 50 were also dropped because 46 was assumed in learning competency number 45 and also 50 was assumed in learning competency number 49. It has moved to mathematics by grade 5, quarter 3, with a total of 21 most essential learning competencies. For competency number 61, for competency number 64, 66, and 78 were dropped. Mathematics grade 5, quarter 4, total of 18 learning, most essential learning competencies. Learning competency 85, 83, 97, 107 were dropped. Learning competency 82, 88 also dropped. Learning competency 81, 95, and 98 also were dropped. Mathematics 6, quarter 1, a total of 17 most essential learning competencies. Learning competency number 3, 6, 9, 12, 17, and 25 of grade 6 first part were dropped. Learning competency number 18, 19, merge and replace. Learning competency number 20 and 21, merge and replace. Quarter 2 of grade 6, total of 17 most essential learning competencies. Competency number 27, 29, 32, 36 were dropped, while competency number 41 and 42 merged and replaced. Competency number 44 and 45 merged and replaced. Quarter 3 of grade 6, a total of 15 most essential learning competencies. Because learning competency number 61, 24, and 27 were dropped. Learning competency number 67, 71 dropped. 49, 51 merged and replaced, while 53 and 54 were dropped. So for quarter 4 of grade 6, a total of 12 learning competencies. Competency number 78 dropped. Number 79 and 80 merged and replaced. 82 dropped. 84 and 89 dropped. So let us now move to our walkthrough of junior high school mathematics MELCs. Mathematics grade 7, quarter 1, total of 15 most essential learning competencies. For competency number 1 and 2, the action taken was to merge and replace, while competency number 3 and 4 also merge and replace, 15 and 19 merge and replace. For quarter 2, we only have identified 16 most essential learning competencies. We have competency number 20 and 21 dropped. Competency number 25 and 36 merged and replaced. Competency number 26 and 27 and also 29 were all merged and replaced because the learning competencies having the same mathematical focus and foundational skills are merged faster and replaced. Competencies number 35 and 37 merged and replaced. For quarter 3 of grade 7, we only have 11 most essential learning competencies. There were no drops nor merge and replace competencies. For quarter 4, only competency number 53 was dropped. How about grade 8, quarter 1? We only have a total of 80 most essential learning competencies, with competency number 9 and 10 merge and replace, competencies number 19 and 20 merge and replace. Mathematics grade 8, quarter 2, a total of 16 most essential learning competencies, because 21 and 22 learning competencies were merged and replaced, while 25 dropped, 31 and 32 were merged to phrase. Quarter 3 of grade 8, total of 8 most essential learning competencies. No changes. No changes for quarter 3 of grade 8. Quarter 4 of grade 8, we have only 10 most essential learning competencies. So no changes. No activated. You can see um, from the slide. So math grade 9, quarter 1, we have only 16 identified most essential learning competencies. No change. No changes. No? There were no, all of the competencies were most essential. So mathematics grade 9, quarter 2, we have only 11 most essential learning competencies because 21 dropped. Okay, so for mathematics grade 9, quarter 3, we have only 12 most essential learning competencies because competency number 29 was dropped. So how about quarter 4? Quarter 4 has only 6 most essential learning competencies without change. So mathematics grade 10, quarter 1, we have only identified 12 most essential learning competencies because competency number 3 and 4 merged and the competency number 7 dropped, competencies number 8 and 9 merged and the break, while competency number 10 dropped. Competencies number 13 and 16 merged and the break, 17 dropped. Quarter 2 of grade 10, total of 12 identified most essential learning competencies. Because competency number 22 was replaced, competencies number 27 dropped, 31 and 32 merged and replaced. Quarter 3 of grade 10, total of 10 most essential learning competencies. Because 34 and 38 learning competencies were taught. Quarter 4 of grade 10, total of 106 most essential learning competencies. So let us now have an overview of our senior high school mathematics subjects. So for senior high school mathematics subjects, general mathematics, statistics and probability, business mathematics. While for STEM courses, we have pre-calculus and basic calculus. As you can see from the table, for general mathematics, we have only 63 learning competencies from our current curriculum guide, while we identified only 58 essential learning competencies, and down to 54 identified most essential learning competencies. For statistics and probability, 71 from the current curriculum guide, while only 65 identified as essential and 37 as most essential. For business mathematics, 45 from the curriculum guide and 35 as the most essential learning competencies. Pre-calculus, 49 and 30 most essential. Basic calculus, 39 from the current curriculum guide, learning competencies, only 32 considered as most essential. If we are to compare the retained merged and those learning competencies and the original PG, we can see from the graph that the retained competencies of general mathematics is the highest percentage from all the 5 subjects, while business mathematics has the highest merging and continuous rate. And calculus is the highest percentage of competencies. So let us now move to our walkthrough of core subjects, 4 subjects, 4 math subjects, and business math. So let us start from general mathematics part 1. For general mathematics part 1, we only have a total of 30 identified most essential learning competencies. Competencies number 11, 17, 25, 24, and 29 were all done. Mathematics quarter 2, general mathematics, total of 24 identified most essential learning competencies. Competency number 49 was dropped, while 53 and 54 were merged and replaced. 5263 dropped. For quarter 3 of statistics and probability, total of 27 most essential learning competencies. Because competency number 5, number 12, number 24, number 25, 26, 27 were dropped because the content knowledge is not widely used in conducting student searches in senior high school. Competencies number 28, 30, 31 also dropped. Competencies number 33, 34, 35 dropped. Competencies number 37, 38, 39 also were dropped. And also 40 and 41. So let us now move to quarter 4 of statistics and probability. Total and 24 most essential learning competencies. For competency number 37 is dropped. Quarter 1 English is mathematics. A total of 15 most essential learning competencies identified. While competency number 1 was dropped, competencies number 2 and 3 were merged. So competencies number 1 dropped, 2 and 3 was merged and different. So for competencies number 2, is raised. Competencies number 5, number 10 is raised. For quarter 2 of business mathematics, we only have 20 most essential learning competencies. Because competency number 13 was raised. Competency number 3 dropped. Competency number 1, 3, 4 were all dropped. Competencies number 6 and 7 were merged and rephrased. So let us now move to our walkthrough of pre-calculus and basic calculus MELCs. For pre-calculus quarter 1, total of 15 most essential learning competencies identified. With competency number 4, 7, 10, and 13 were dropped. Competencies number 16, 17, 18, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 were dropped. Competencies of quarter 2 identified as most essential competencies is 15. So competency number 6 is raised, competency number 8 is raised, competency 10 and 11, 12 merge and rephrase, while competencies number 13, 14, 15, 17, 18 were all dropped. Competencies number 19, 20, 21, 22 also were dropped. For quarter 3 of basic calculus, a total of 22 identified most essential learning competencies because 13 competency was rephrased, competencies like 10 and 11, 10, 11, 12 were all dropped, including competency number 5. Competency number 6 was rephrased. Competency number 7 rephrased. Competency number 8 dropped. For quarter 4 of basic calculus, total of only 11 most essential learning competencies. Because competency number 3 was rephrased, 4 also was rephrased, 5 rephrased. Competency number 6 dropped. Competency number 7 rephrased, competency number 10 dropped. So let us now move to unpacking of MELCs. Why is it that we need to unpack the most essential learning competencies? Because we are certain that some of those identified learning competencies were of a big chunk. So probably those competencies may have of different directions. So that should be unpacked. So why we need to unpack? Because there are some competencies that are too ambiguous, too broad, or too narrow, and reflect different kinds of goals simultaneously. In unpacking the competencies, we have to consider knowledge, skill, core message, the value, and we will refer the unpacking to past analysis of the content standards. So in unpacking of the competencies, it's important that we have to consider the teaching and the learning content. Consider the learner's characteristics. Let us also determine the required skills and knowledge and incorporate into delivery and assessment. Determine the dimensions of competencies and also incorporate in delivery and assessment. Determine the key competencies, employability skills, and incorporate in delivery and assessment. Determine also the appropriate and engaging learning activity. So let us have a very simple example of impact learning competencies. For grade 3 or grade 1 mathematics, for example, competencies number 5, number 7, number 11, number 15 are of a big chunk competency. So we split the competencies for competency for number 5 into two sub-competencies. For compares using relation symbols and orders in increasing or decreasing order, 4 to 5 digit numbers up to 10,000. The competency into comparing numbers up to 10,000 using relation symbols and ordering 4 to 5 digit numbers in increasing or decreasing order. Also, competency number 7 was split into two sub-competencies, also for 11 and number 15. So it is important to split. However, we also need to consider the time allotment each of the competencies. So let us now move to the sample lesson exemplar in mathematics. So I choose the first quarter of grade 8 mathematics that is to be done week 7 with a duration of 3 days. So in the lesson exemplar, it was clearly presented the content standard, the performance standard, the learning competency and its code, the e-concept, the learning objectives, and also specify the references. Number 3, the learning procedures. So for learning procedures, we have part 1. Activities include prayer, greeting, yes, preliminary activities will start. We'll start with prayer, greeting, checking of attendance, and reminders. Part of the preliminary activities is a drill, review, and motivation. Second part of the learning procedure is the developmental activity. Developmental activity includes the activity, the analysis, the abstraction, the application. So for part 4 is the evaluation. Part 5, agreement, assignment. Part 6, the reflection. And also do not forget to answer and input the data like number of learners who earned 80% in the evaluation, the number of learners who require additional activities for remediation who scored below 80%, and also try to answer the following questions. Did the remedial lessons work? And also include the number of learners who have caught up with the lesson, number of learners who need to continue to remediation, and also which of my teaching strategies work well, why did those strategies work. Include also at the bottom part of your lesson bar your name as well. It's your hard work. You put your name as the writer, include the school and the division. So if you are putting some illustration, some figures in your lesson exemplar, to avoid copying some illustrations from the internet, from the book, or from other sources, ask for the help of some illustrators. But you have to also include the name of the illustrator, including the school and the division.
Ayan po. So thank you very much, Dr. Renato N. Pakpakin, our education program supervisor and one of the education program supervisors of the Curriculum and Learning Management Division, Department of Education, Region 11. Before we move on to our open forum, may I remind our teacher participants to please feel free to unmute yourself speakers and to our dignitaries for the open forum. So, sabi nga ni Sir Bayani, wag po mahiyang pagtanong. Ayan po. So, naka-home court po tayo. Ayan. At this moment, we're going to have an open forum. Welcome on screen our very own PFDF, Ma'am Sara Pasyon Kubar, and also Sir Rogelio Curada of Doña Carmen Soriano Elementary School and Ma'am Alma Encino of Pag-asa Elementary School. Yes, Ma'am and Sir.
Good morning, Ma'am
Hello.
Sara. Good morning, Sir Rogelio.
Good morning, Ma'am.
Ma'am Alma.
Good morning.
Hello everyone,
Good
good
morning.
morning.
Okay,
Thank you
so
for
do we
another
have,
day of completion.
okay, so we have here our first question and it's up to you po sa inyong tatlo kung sino. Okay po.
Excuse me muna.
Yes, ma'am.
I requested that Ma'am Rhoda Rosete will also be with us together with Sir Bayani Iskuton.
Yes,
Yes, to be
because we are
part of
not
the team for the
experts.
offensive.
Okay. Welcome on screen, Ma'am Rhoda and Rosette.
Again, I would like to
Okay.
say thank you to our program host, Mr. Rafi Dumandan, and
Okay, thank you.
the lady host, and also to our program coordinator, Sir Bayanis Kuton, for the completion of the another half day for the second day of the learning management system. And
Okay.
so even though we encountered some technical issues, some technical problems, still we were able to finish the session at 11:19 this morning. So I
We are
hope
ahead of
everyone is
time.
ready for the different questions that will be posted by our teachers. We are encouraging our teachers to post questions so that this will be another learning environment for all of them, for all of us, of course. Thank you,
Yes.
Ma'am Alma Consentino, to be part of this team, and Sir Rogelio Jurada of Doña Carmen Elementary School. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you
Okay,
po.
let's start. And
Hello, Ma'am Sara. Can
Rhoda.
Okay, welcome on screen, Ma'am Rhoda Rosete. Ayan po si
Hello,
Ma'am.
Ma'am
Welcome.
Rhoda. Good morning.
Hello.
On screen na
Can
po
we
si
have
Ma'am
the
Rhoda.
first question?
Okay, so the first question is from Ma'am Susan Rasukay of Pag-asa Elementary School. May I ask po if how do we know that our learners master the competency since we are not sure if they are really the one doing or answering the modules or activity sheets given? Okay, so who would like to answer po?
Hmm, okay. Can I share some answers for
Ito,
this?
ulitin mo.
Okay. The teacher has been asking relative to the mastery of the competency and how we are going to gauge that. If the learners has already mastered the different competencies that is being served to our learners. Let us always put into mind that we are now in the a new normal situation. We are not more focused on the mastery. during these times we are not more focused on the mastery. Take for example what happened in the normal situation. We cannot really reach total mastery even if there is a face-to-face modality that is being used. But with this new normal situation in which there is no longer face-to-face modality, but we have to opt with the modular. Of course, it is expected that the parents or the brothers and sisters of our learners will be helping them. And it is also expected that from time to time, even our own learners would not be able to answer the different modules, but through the assistance of these people around them in their homes. But yet, as I said, it's it's more of we are going to invest on trust because in this new normal situation, it should be that we will be trusting. That's why there should be a man-to-man meeting with the parents for them to understand the role of everyone in this new normal situation. So, if we could not invest on trust, let us expect talaga na these things will be happening. But just like what our schools division superintendent has said during some activities that we have conducted, we should not be more focused on the mastery of the competencies by our learners, but we are more focused on the learning itself. As long as we will be able to help our learners to learn on the different learning areas that is being served to them. So kung mo ano sila kanang manigas sila, wala tayong mahimo because we are not on the face to face. I hope our school head would also be sharing some inputs related to that. Can we hear from
Okay,
the school head?
okay. An additional for that, ma'am, info. To the schools who have not yet conducted the parents orientation, maybe we can include that one, informing them that this is a pupil output, though there is a sharing, helping by the family members that their pupils or their children or their brothers and sisters can answer. Then ato lang explain nila nga para ni sa ato mga bata unya during the parents orientation we will deeper the situation about that the pupils or the learners will be the one to be mastered the lesson or competency.
Yeah, that's very true, Sir Rogelio Horada. It should be there will be a clear understanding with the parents. So during the parent-teacher orientation or the parents orientation, that should be one of the things that will be discussed because whether we like it or not, these things will really happen.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we have some input from the other school heads, please? Sorry, nag-change po eyeglass kay sakit ang light.
Okay, ma'am.
Sakit ang light.
Sige mo, kuan lang ko, muhatag lang ko gamay. Okay, regarding that issue, no? We were more than happy to know that the parents are helping the students, 'di ba?
Yep.
And siguro let us just make sure that the answers na gi-answer sa bata dito were explained to them properly. No? So, murag ana lang siguro, explain to them properly, dili lang kay they just submit the modules without explaining to the pupils. So siguro, since that we need their assistance, our parents, okay? So we're happy to know that na nangita pa manggani ta og assistance from them, no? Because we don't have face to face. So on that thing alone na they are helping their children, happy na kay taana. So with those answers, siguro explain po siguro sa ginikanan properly. Okay, murag
Yeah,
kato lang jud siguro
definitely,
ako
ma'am.
ma-share.
In fact, yes, ma'am.
We
Because,
will
di
serve
ba,
as
we are even tasked to look for para teachers that could
Mm.
also assist our learners if there are no family members that could assist them. So with that, that's why I am saying we have to invest in trust. Trust lang talaga.
yes,
Pagsalig sa ginikanan, pagsalig sa mga para teachers. The only thing is let us not focus more on the mastery. Because if we focus on mastery, what will happen will be kita ang teachers lang gihapon ang ano ganina siya kanang they will not feel happy with the result kung talagang mo-focus sila sa mastery. Kasi definitely siguro on those children who are above average talagang maghimo na nila, but definitely these are the majority of our children talaga maglisod pa man gani during the face to face. I hope we can also hear from the secondary. Ma'am Roda? Ma'am Roda? Ulay sound, Ma'am Roda.
Oh. Hello po, good morning.
Okay.
good
Good morning.
Madunggan ko,
sir.
ma'am.
Yes,
Hello
ma'am.
po.
Very much.
Okay, my courtesy to our Public Schools District Supervisor, Ma'am Sara Kubar. To my here in the open forum. Okay lang po ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Sige po, sige po.
Yes, ma'am po. Very clear po.
So I just want to share an article from a website from Carissa Lugan. I have just read here in my office. So siguro it's really time to really empower our students. So our role here as teachers, we will try to hear our students to lead their own learning. So together with their parents, so maybe it's a very good a very good parang napakaganda na set up na our students now are learning together with their parents, as well as it can also build uh bonding time, more time to their children. So 'di ba ika nga our parents are the first teacher. So talagang time na talaga ngayon na bibigyan natin ng sama sa giingon ganina nila ma'am na put our on our learners siguro. Yun lang siguro yung maa-add ko sa sinabi nila ma'am at saka sir po.
Okay, so it's more on the same with the elementary and the secondary na we invest on trust talaga. Yun lang talaga ang isa success
yes,
point
yes.
here para dili ta ma-discourage so that the teachers will not feel discouraged with the results. We just have to invest on trust. Yun. Sige.
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
we get
May I share also?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Gamay lang, ma'am.
Sir Bayani.
Thank you for that question, Ma'am Cursano. So, in the teacher side, or naiiro ang saban.
Pahilog ko ulit.
Pahiluhan. Sige,
In
go,
the
Sir
teacher
Bayani.
side po, ma'am, good morning sa tanan, Ma'am Sara, sa mga school heads, sa tanang participants. This is high time that the saying, it takes a village to educate a child will really take place. Yeah. So, kuan man god, in reality, the first responsibility to educate our children is on the parents gyud. Di ba inig dala sa eskwelahan dapat nanaw ta sila'y unsa ni, nanaw ta sila'y prior knowledge unta or mga ginagmay mga basics, pero ang nahitabo sa realidad gyud kaayo kay sa ideal man tong pamaagi sa realidad gyud ang nahitabo is mahog nga sa uban lang ba dili pud tanan, hindi ko sa nilalahat ang parents, pero kay naam ko sa teaching profession mao nang maka-relate ay makabalo ko sa real situation nga ang uban mura nagnahimo nga nahimo ng prime responsibility of the teachers to educate. Although it is our job, but this is high time that there will be a strong partnership for both parents and teachers to educate our children. So tama to, I really agree with our administrators and to Ma'am Sara. This is high time to not just the education of the children, but the bonding between the parents and children will really be strengthened. Kay kuan man, kining dili man ni nato makaya nga kita lang mo itang natay ginatawag nga parent and teacher association, parent and teacher partnership, community involvement, di ba lami kay tag mga terms, pero mao gid ang time nga during sa itong mga orientation ipasabot gyud nato sa mga parents nga ma'am, mga auntie, mga uncle, lolo, lola, ma'am, sir, nagkinahanglan gyud mi sa inyong tabang kay magtinabangay taniini kay dili ni namo makaya nga kami lang kun dili kita gyud tanan ang magtinabangay para rapod sa kaugmaon sa atong mga kabataan. Daghang salamat Ma'am Sara o fellow school heads.
Okay, salamat Sir Bayani for that input. Any other question? Can we post another question? MELCs are used for this school year only? Question mark. This would mean that we will be going back to the original learning competencies. Why not use the MELCs in the subsequent school years? As I have said yesterday, and I will always emphasize, we do not know the current situation, when this current situation will end up. In fact, just last night, our president, President Duterte, has issued another degree related, another law declaring Metro Manila area back to MECQ modified. Balik sila ka-lockdown ang Metro Manila, and why I knew much on that because I am affected to that because my son has to travel to Manila tomorrow, August 5 as scheduled, but na-cancel ang ilahang flight tanan because of the MECQ back of Metro Manila from August 4 to August 18. We do not know what will be happening onwards relative to COVID-19. Although the preparation of the department is only for this school year for the MELC, but I would like to press that if you're going, example, in the Filipino area, the old K-12 curriculum consists of 2,378 competencies, learning competencies. But during some cleanup that was being used for the competencies, what we are using in 2019-2020 competencies, naging na lang siya, 1,790 competencies. Gi-clean up siya. Gi-clean up ang ato ang competencies. And that is also true in the different learning areas. But for this MELC, most essential learning competencies, nahimo na lang siya nga 708. Why nahitabo na yun na? Does that mean na naay mga competencies na ato ng dili na dapat ma-learn sa mga bata or na short change ang atong mga learners for that? Definitely not. Wala sila na short change. Because what happened to the competencies are there are only mergings. Kay bisan before na yung mga reklamo nga itong mga teachers, mau raman siya, balik-balik ang competency, balik-balik ang mga learning, mga So, this time around, gi-clean up siya para merging. Doon ay mga gipanghimo nga mga merging. On the competencies na repetitive na siya or redundant na siya, yun, nag-merging siya. So, meaning to say, gi-strengthen. Ang MELC ngayon is a strengthened competency. So, this my probability na this is only not for this school year alone. Although the plan is for this school year alone, but definitely we just do not know what will happen in this new normal situation. Kaya let us not close our doors for this. We just do not know kung mo continue pa na by 2021 or mo continue pa ni by 2022 or 5 years or 10 years. We just do not know what will happen beyond. Kaya as what our I can quote one of the superintendent in Abusan when we have some chattings and we have some exchange of mga foresight. Ang isa sa emphasize niya is that let us just continue to live today and not close our doors for tomorrow. So, yun lang. Kung unsa ihatag sa karon, do it. Yun lang.
Yes. Yes.
Any more insights from others?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir Bayani?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Yes. Diri na po nga side. Thank you, Sir Alex, for that question. MELCs are used for this. Ipasa magkalit ni Ma'am Bay. Sige. MELCs are used for this school year. Tama to siya is, karon gid siya nga school year, mga ma'am and sir. But since we are living in this VUCA world, when we say VUCA, V-U-C-A, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. So we do not know what will happen.
Yes.
We do not know what will happen tomorrow, the next day. So maybe we will be using these MELCs still on the next school year, for the succeeding school years. Kasi po, gaya ng in-explain kanina, these MELCs are the most essential learning competencies or yung mga pinakamahalagang kasanayan sa pagkatuto. So dahil ito po yung pinakamahalaga, nice gyud kayo sir nga mao ni atong fokusan, and as directed by the central office, mao ni atong focus karon. Pero just like what I said, we are living in this uncertain world. Maybe sooner than later mao gihapon ni ang ato ang gamiton pohon. So basin kay kita ang realidad is gahulat man gyud ta unsay ihatag pod sa national office. Pag moingon sila kini gihapon atong magamit. Pero moingon sila revert back to the original nga medyo tama to sir, medyo numerous gud siya og burdensome kay daghan kay nga competency ama padulong gyapon ta sa pagbalik. Thank you so much, Sir Alex. Thank you for this opportunity to answer, mga ma'am and sir.
Pwede mag-add yan? Pwede?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kung ako lang ang mag-decide, nindot unta kayo mo continue lang ni siya kay kamay-kamay na lang, no? Then ang burden sa teacher in making lesson plan, kamay-kamay na lang po niya. Focus na to sa uban kay ang uban nga mga gipang delete, niya gi-subsume nila or merge. Ana man to siya, pwede na po tong uban nga mahimo siyang mga additional na lang mga learning inputs, no? But we're focusing kining karon nga MELC kay siyempre kamay na lang teacher nga mag-prepare kamay na lang pila ang burden. Thank you. Punta.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Ako po gamay lang. Some of the competencies sa speaker sa Filipino, I've heard na ay gipang tanggal because that competencies need face-to-face interaction. So, naay portion sa atong competencies na needs face-to-face. Pero, actually, wala i-delete nga competency. No? As we have heard from the speakers, murag balik-balik ra to, no? Recurrence, gi-cluster, gi-merge, mao ra jud siya. And the sole criterion is endurance. Mao ra jud akong nasabtan from the speakers, from the different speakers. Okay.
Yes. Are we done for that question? Napa by Mr. Arvin Villesa. Mayroon na bang available PPSs for all subjects, sir and ma'am? Meron na ba, Sir Bayani?
Yes, ma'am. Meron na po. It was already sent to the respective schools.
Yes.
Meron na po, ma'am.
Ma'am. Meron
na po.
We have already printed our MELCs.
Oh.
Yes. So, tama na. Natubag na si Sir Arvin. Some more questions. From Arlene Danghil. Are all these MELCs have corresponding modules or activity sheets ready? to be used this coming opening of classes? When will this be available po? What a question. Yes, tama yun na imong pangutana, ma'am. Kay bisan kami mo pud na amo ang pangutana, no? Are all competencies in the MELCs as the corresponding modules? Because until now, we were not able to see pa the different modules or the copies of the modules. And this has always been the discussion that we have during our staff meetings. Na when will be these modules will be given to the different schools, because the schools have the responsibility to reproduce the different modules. Until now, August 3 na August 4 na ta karon, no? August 4, we only have 20 days more to go. Can we finish the reproduction of the modules so that we could start by August 24? That's to be remain to be seen. Wala pa. Ato pa nang tanawon karon kung yes, ma'am.
Ma'am Sar.
Apo.
Yes po.
Yes.
Ma'am, actually, ma'am, our school superintendent already had sent a message, a Google Drive file, because our ADM are already available po for
Yes.
printing. So she already instructed. Yes po. So she instructed in our GCs to start printing our modules for the first quarter. So since merong budget na ida-download based from the message sent heads, we have 4.6 million plus 200,000 budget downloaded. So we shall for that in the form of bond papers and other materials that we can use for preparation of our modules po. So, yun po.
That's why there are printers that is given to the different schools. For Kapalong West, where we are only allocated 4 printers for 4 schools.
Yes po.
So
Wow.
I have submitted only the most schools who are in need. But as per our schools division superintendent, that budget is not really enough for the printing of the different modules. So it's still the responsibility of each school to reproduce their modules. But that's why an allocation of the 30% from your MOE is allocated for that. So yun ang ano nato din ha karon mo pa
Yes
lang na
po, Ma'am Sar.
ako.
Magkuhan. First advice is to print the first week and second week muna. Hinahinay lang kay dako-dako man og budget. No? Niya ang ato ang supplementary learning materials na post na po ni SDS ready na po for printing. Sabay atong gi-post
Hopefully we can finish printing on that. Hopefully.
Yes,
Especially sa ato ang level na walay budget ang atong local government from the SEF na to assist for the printing of the different modules, not like other municipalities na may allocation ang LGU from the SEF for the reproduction of the different modules. Sa TUA, wala, because as of now, ang concern is more on the continuation of the classes in the hinterland. Yun ang isa sa mga concerns na to.
Ma'am Sara po, query ma'am. Ma'am, regarding po sa reproduction of modules, can we allow parents to in a form of donation, 1 ream of bond paper every 2 months or 1 ream per month? Is it okay po, Ma'am Sara?
Since the come up of the plan for yung sa brigada gani, di ba? During the brigada eskwela campaign for this year,
yes
we are
po.
encouraged to look for stakeholders, to look for donors and focus more on the the most important things, which is yung mga mask, mga alcohol and everything, and the reproduction of modules. Kaya it's good if if we will open na gani mga eskwelahan na nag-campaign sila on the social media asking for donation like this and like that. It's good, but never make it part of the
Requirement.
requirements of the parents. Hindi. It should be
Yes po.
only as a donation.
Yes po,
Makahatag sila
ma'am.
o isa ka rin nga bond paper, why not? Okay, that's fine. Or whatever na pwedeng mahatag sa ato ang mga parents, because our parents understand, our stakeholders understood naman din sa the predicament of DepEd ngayon as of this time.
Yes po, ma'am. Thank you,
But
ma'am. Thank you po.
never good na we will allow that the teachers will be the one spending for that.
Yes po,
Okay.
ma'am. Noted
Yes,
po,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Gusto
Thank
lang
you po.
I'm sorry, gusto lang na ako i-share that our barangay council, headed by our kapitan, gave us 20K, worth 20K school supplies for printing and other equipment para sa COVID. Thank you.
Wow.
Ang ako ang tubad na, Ma'am
Congrats.
Alma, sana all.
Yes, ma'am. Sana all.
Sana all.
Yes.
Nice
We're just
question,
lucky.
And good for you, you are lucky.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my question dire, do we have new grading system? Sige. Who can answer?
Sir Bayani?
Hello, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, ma'am Roda. Yes, ma'am.
Ay, sige, Sir Yani. Ikaw na, Sir Yani. Ikaw na po, ikaw na. Sige po. Okay lang po.
Okay, ma'am. Hello, ma'am Susan. Do we have a new grading system? So, kasunod po ng pagbabago ng ating pamamaraan ng pagbibigay ng edukasyon sa ating parents, sa ating learners, maybe kaagapay po nito is ang isang bago namang pamamaraan sa ating grading system. We will just be waiting for mandates or memoranda regarding that. Kasi as of now, I do not hear still of any new grading system. Pero kay lahi naman atong pamaagi atong modality, so eventually lahi pud ang ato ang pamaagi sa grading pud, ma'am. Ma'am Roda?
Let's just wait and see.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we have the same answer po, Sir Yani. Okay lang.
ma'am.
We still do not have a new DepEd ordering assessment grading system po. Wala pa po. So still, ang gagamitin na grading system is the same.
Okay,
Kasi,
siguro.
Sige, ma'am. Kasi as I said, we are focused on delivery of learning. Wala pa muna tayo on assessment, no? Wala pa muna tayo on the mastery of our learners. We are more focused now on the delivery of learning competencies to our learners. So, siguro, few days or few weeks from now, nanapoy hatag ang atong department. Let's just wait and see.
I'm just happy na advance mag-isip si Ma'am Susan Dasukay. Advance.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much po, PSDS Ma'am Sara Passion Kubar, and to all the school heads, Sir Rogelio, Ma'am Roda, Ma'am Alma, Sir Bayani.
We can still entertain one question kasi we still have 10 minutes.
Okay, sir. Do we still have some questions from our participants? Ma'am Sara po, there are no more questions po as of this moment.
No more clarification on the focus of today's Can we have some more input from our teacher coordinator or program coordinator who is also around today to give us more wrap up input on the MELC, Sir Bayani?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Hello again, mga ma'am and sir. So these MELCs or the most essential learning competencies are made or purposely made by the central office para po mas mapagaan yung ating delivery of learning. Just like what Ma'am Sarah said, ang focus po natin is ang learning. So tinanggal na po yung mga medyo mahirap, medyo complicated, at saka yung mga needs revision ng mga competencies. Example lang sa mathematics, kay math magid kay akong focus. So sa math, gitanggal na nila tong creation or creating word problems. Katubutang ang bata gid mag-create creating word problems in example addition and subtraction of fractions kasi mas pinaigting po ng ating Department of Education yung process talaga na addition and subtraction of fractions. Tapos medyo complicated naman tong creation, mga anak. Example po katong derives formula of solid figures. Dili naman kaayo tong derived formula kay ang gihatag na gyud nila lisod naman ang pag-derive, mag-atubang rabi sila module. So ang gihatag na gyud nila solves volume of solid figures. So medyo direct na gyud siya kay lahi na gyud ang pamaagi nato mga ma'am and sir. So sa atong MELCs, those that are dili kayo needed, although they are needed good in the long run, pero katong dili gyud kayo kinahanglan are either revised or rejected, and those that are most essential are retained. So all in all, wala siya nakuhaan gyud nga kanang natanggal gyud ang quality, naagya po ng quality, ang katulang most essential mao gyud gi-maintain. And this afternoon, napagyud ang mga other subject areas sa ilahang selection of the most essential learning competencies. Natay afternoon session anak mga ma'am and sir.
Okay, daghan kaayong salamat, Sir Bayani. Okay. Sir Rafi.
Okay, some inputs from our school administrators. Yes, Ma'am Bam.
Yes, Sir Rafi.
Yes, Ma'am Bam. Hello po.
Okay. So, dear school heads of different schools, can we have final insights about this morning session of our training before closing this morning session po? Wala na po ba?
I'll give the floor to Ma'am Roda of the secondary school for the final insight. Walang microphone. No sound.
Yes po. Sorry po. So, congratulations to one and all, especially to our technical working group. So, I know na hindi madali yung pag-ere ng ating ginagawa ngayon. Talaga. So, Ma'am Sarah, a salute to your leadership po for the support and very always giving us guidance, both the school heads as well as the teachers. Very much. And to Sir Yani, our LMS hero, daghan kaayong
Thank you,
salamat,
ma'am.
sir. So, teacher participant, to my colleagues, school heads both in the elementary and secondary. So, daghan po kaayong to our participants who are watching out there, for the teachers. So, stay put lang jud ta ha, daghan tag makutlo dita. So, mga frontliners nato sa education system, sa atong new normal. So, what have our CID chief have said, so we should acquire new knowledge on LMS. Pero niingon po dato ang SDS nga, chill lang, relax lang. Niingon po dato is, let us be serious on our dealings on this webinar. Hopefully, walay mamiya diri ha. So mag-uban-uban ta hangtod karong diha hapon. So hashtag unsa ganitong hashtag? Hashtag embrace LMS, hashtag LMS KapWest, hashtag sulong edukalidad. So mabuhay ang West District with Ma'am Sarah Cobar. Yan lang
One last,
po.
one last, one last, please. One last, please.
Okay, okay,
I
Ma'am
saw it on the
Sarah.
screen. I saw it in the screen that there is a question posted by Ma'am Bernadette Calonsag. How about if there are parents who cannot read and write and not capable of dealing with their children, face to face and everything? Okay, that's why we are asking our school heads to give us some data relative to parents who could not assist their children and who have nobody in their respective homes that could assist the children because there is a plan that para teachers will be utilized uh, through the local government and through the barangay. So we are collecting data already on that so that there are para teachers that will be utilized on that. Again, good afternoon. Mayong ting paniudto. Salamat. Salamat our program coordinator for job well done for the half day today. I hope everything will be fine until the end of this day. Happy lunch, everyone.
Salamat. Thank you for the opportunity nga nakita mi sa screen.
Lagi.
Salamat. Even if we are not expert, at least nakatubag.
Okay, you are
All right.
welcome po, Ma'am Alma.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am Bam. So time check, it's 9:30 tayo mga teachers. Ayan, so we do believe that all your concerns or queries are answered comprehensively by heart by our PFDS, our school heads, and also our Yani Dalodi. Ayan. So later in this afternoon, we're going to have another set of questions. So if you have something to do or to ask, feel free to do so. Yan po, it's time, last time na Mamba.
Yes, yes, yes. And at this moment, we are about to have our lunch break. May I remind everyone that the new link for the afternoon session is on your screen already. Okay, please take a photo or screenshot and let's see each other later in the afternoon at exactly 1 p.m. Happy lunch, everyone.
Okay, before we end this morning session, I quote this from Mark Twain. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. Good morning once again and happy lunch break. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.